word to your mothers and fathers. Welcome to the Southside Spurs show. As you can see, I am just
Oh, Cody's there. What's for dinner?
Bridge with his new glasses. And Rez, what are you dressed as?
This is my random
Captain Caveman, is it? Is that Captain Caveman?
No, it's more maritime.
Captain Caveman.
Yeah,
Do you remember?
It's more about the sea than cave thing. I don't know. It was a Geekbox T-shirt I got years ago, and so yeah, it's comfy though.
Yes, the order of the day. It's comfy. Is the one. Do you remember Captain Caveman, or have I just made a completely random?
No,
good.
No,
You should have said no. Just watch me squirm.
no.
Alan, if you were watching cartoons when me and Rez were, we'll have to have serious chats with the is it U-Tree, Operation U-Tree? What was that?
There was only one cartoon in my day. There's only one cartoon in my day that was worth watching.
Andy Pandy?
The Flintstones. The Flintstones. Come on. It's the Flintstones. It's the Yabba Dabba Doo Time Day.
Can you remember where you were when the movies went from like emotion to actually moving and black and white and all that? Were you a teenager in those days?
You say that, right? Honestly, we had a black and white TV for donkey's years, right? Because my old man was not exactly. He was tight, yeah, right. So anyway, I come home from school one day, and I must have been about 12 years old. About 12 years old, and I've walked in the living room, and I looked at the screen. Didn't even notice. My brother went, "I didn't you say anything?" I say, "What about?" He says, "The TV. It's colour." I've been so used to white all my life. I didn't even,
You were a Newcastle fan. In like, damn, Alan's on a stream. We'll try and sneak it in there without anyone noticing, even though he's full of the screen. Oh dear, our stream is lagging big time. Is anyone else getting that issue, or is it Cody's Canadian issues? Is it your president blocking any access to the third world, or have in fact Russia hit us with a nuclear weapon and it's taken out London?
It's just it's like what's it called? Yeah, it's like an electromagnetic pulse has screwed everything.
Is anyone else getting lagging, or is it just Cody? Bobby's in the house.
What's up, Bobby K? Good to see you.
All right, Bobby.
Again?
Yeah.
Iggy says that
it is. What should we do? Should we start it again, or what? Bobby says it's lagging, but he's in Canada as well. I don't know. What should we do?
Iggy's in London, so
Iggy's Iggy's lagging as well. Lagging here, a bit like Spurs. Yeah. What should we do? Oh, it's good now. Bobby says it's corrected itself. So it's looking good, guys. Okay, it seems to have resolved itself. The Russians have backed off of the threat of my Sith lordery.
Yes,
I have forsaken him. Right. Paul's in for his regular therapy session. What are you saying?
Paul, good to see you. Good to see you.
What are you saying there? Iggy, the main man, is in. AC Milan's finest.
He's my twin.
He's your twin, yep. In the background of all those videos at the We Are Tottenham TV, just like in therapy meeting, weren't you? Yeah. Graham's in. Hello, Graham. You're right. You're good. Bobby's commenting on your Flintstones. That made it all the way to Canada, didn't it?
Yeah.
The black magic work. Yes, it did indeed. It did indeed.
I think it was Scott.
Yeah. He must have been buzzing last night because Lucas Moura wasn't that good, was he? He came on and lost the ball a few times and sort of ran into some dark alleys, and I thought immediately. Yeah, I bet he was hovering over his phone. I told you shit.
No, Scott's a good egg.
He is.
Unlike that Cody chap.
Yeah,
Cody. God.
Cody Mick.
He's a bully.
Regular viewers like Iggy will know.
Oh, stop.
Spurs. we always kick off the show with Spurs on this day in history. And did you actually know, boys, that it's the League Cup final day? For some reason, they usually have the League Cup final on the 24th of February. So we've got a couple of a good one and a bad one. So 2002, with silverware in their sights, Glenn Hoddle's side arrives at the Millennium Stadium feeling confident they would leave with the League Cup. Weren't we all? Weren't we all, Glenn? The opposition on the day is Blackburn Rovers, who were unflustered by the occasion, proven as much by taking the lead through Matt Jansen before Christian Ziege equalised. Then on 68 minutes, this is very harsh, a rare Ledley King mistake lets Andy Cole in for what proves to be the winner for Rovers and gives the Ewood Park Club their first trophy for 74 years to end Hoddle's dream. Odds-on favourites. Where he really is.
Yeah.
Do we think that maybe that was the day that Dr. Tottenham was born? Do you think it was Dr. Tottenham?
I think that happened. I think that happened in the 90s.
Blackburn. Well, no, Blackburn because we weren't Spursy in the 90s. We were just shit.
No, because we lost the Everton game before that. Didn't we? That semi-final with Daniel Amokachi putting us this sword. So that was before Blackburn, wasn't it? Yeah. Second one in brighter news, 2008, Spurs faced Chelsea in the League Cup final. The West London outfit in the loosest possible terms, begins strong favourites thanks mainly to their league position and past record against Tottenham. The bookies seem to have got it right too when Chelsea take the lead in the first half and Didier Drogba fires home a 20-yard free kick that leaves the keeper helpless. Through our wall, didn't it? And Rob, I just stood there and watched it. A Dimitar Berbatov penalty brought the scores level with 20 minutes left on the clock, but neither side can find a winner in normal time, so an extra 30 minutes is played. Before 5 minutes had elapsed, however, in extra time, Jonathan Woodgate wrote himself into Tottenham folklore by flicking in a header to give Juan de Ramos' Spurs team a hugely satisfying victory. Do you remember that shit song they used to try and make us sing at the time? We could be heroes just for Juan Day.
No, I don't remember.
I was like, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. In fact, that's probably the first time I've ever sung it. Yeah, that's probably the first time I've ever sung it.
I was quite lucky in the sense that when it comes to One Day Ramos, I never actually got around to going and taking the kids to watch it because I started taking them, I think, when Redknapp took over, I think.
I've got a lot to be thankful for similar reasons because somebody obviously gave up their season ticket when Juan de Ramos had his exceptional start to the following season. And that's when I got my season ticket. And then literally a week later, he got sacked and Redknapp came in. So whoever that person was, thank you. I bet they were fucking gutted, weren't they? I've had enough of this shit. Fucking One Day Ramos fucking ripping it up.
They mostly never gave it up. They mostly had heart attack through all the football we were playing. 2 points from 8.
Oh, yeah. You got to do the Harry Redknapp. 2 points from 8 games.
Yes.
The old Twitch. 2 points from 8 games.
Good old Harry.
We haven't got a lot to talk about, have we?
No.
Barely a day goes by in Tottenham shit shower.
There's been nothing at all happening at all, and it's very, very boring.
Very dull, very boring.
I would suggest doing my you-know-what, but I'm mostly a bit rusty on all the questions. I mostly need to squat up for about 4 weeks.
Well, it's better if you do it, stream of conscious-wise, Alan. You don't want to be planning to go...
If you want to give a bit of content, let's go for it then if you want.
So viewers, there's 17 people watching. Who would like to see Alan do his White Hart Memory Lane? I'm so hoping everyone will go, no. If you'd like to see Alan do his White Hart Memory Lane, put Levy out in the comments section.
Can I just respond to this very quickly?
You can indeed. We keep pressing it at the same time. There we go.
Basically, Cody, what you need to do, the little thing at the top, the little end of the stalk, right? If you want to check if an avocado is good, just take that off, and the color underneath will be the color that it is inside. So that will help for next time. I mean, it won't prevent World War III, but at least your avocados will be okay.
All these people saying what they would do if World War III breaks out reminds me of. I just had Barry in before we go. Hello, Barry. Bazois, the Baselmeister General.
Basilford.
Basilford himself.
How are you, chap?
Yeah, good man. All this talk of what would you do if World War III breaks out? It reminds me of Young Guns 2. Do you remember that film, Rez?
No,
When he says,
oh no, not Younger. Sorry, I was thinking of Hot Shots Part Deux. Sorry, Young Guns. I only saw the first one. I didn't watch the second one.
I'm going to butcher the quote, but he says, a man comes running into a burning building where 3 Chinamen are playing Fantang. Is it a card game or something?
Mm-hmm.
He says the world is about to end. The first Chinaman jumps up and said, well, hell, I'm going to get myself a gallon of beer. I'm going to find the nearest hooker and I'm going to, sleep my way to the end of the world. The second Chinaman jumps up and says, well, I'm going to the mission to pray. And the third Chinaman says, this is the Billy the Kid beat. Goes, the third Chinaman says, I shall finish the game. Well, I shall finish the game. Always finish the game in life, people. Whatever you're doing. Right. Just because the world's coming to an end, we need to complete our duties, It's like Shellside Spurs show. The world may be coming to an end, but me and Rez had to be here tonight. As you can see, Barry and Alan aren't taking it that seriously. They've pissed off. One of them's gone to the mission to pray, I think, and one of them's gone to get a gallon of alcohol in the near shore. And me and Rez shall finish the game. Derek is indeed a dictator like Putin. Well, due to lack of demand, I think we'll have to cancel your White Hart Memory Lane there, Alan. No one wants to see it. Where are you anyway? What are you doing?
We've got a lot to talk about.
Something just in case I was.
He's getting some toast, or he's playing with his cock.
No, I was getting my scarf. I was getting my scarf that I got that day, just in case you took me down memory lane.
Oh, I didn't realise we were doing ours White Hart Memory Lane. I'll go to sleep.
No, we were gonna, but there's no public demand for it. I did ask the viewers.
No one wants to hear me.
Rez, can you check your WhatsApp? Cody's sending you sweet messages.
Lagging, boys.
Are we lagging again? Are we? Oh, for Christ's sake!
Yeah.
That's Putin.
It's Putin, man. Is it lagging? Is that what Rez is saying on your WhatsApp, or are you saying no? Okay, fair enough.
I just saw the avocado. It's disgusting.
Okay.
I can't believe you didn't come on and show us your avocados, mate.
Funnily enough, Cody, I said to him, "It's his POB, Roger. It's a taxi driving mic. What's happened to it? Where is it?
Somewhere in the bin somewhere."
I love it because you get so frustrated that like someone will say, "Alan, we can't actually hear you," and you'll be like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, fucking around with this." Hello. Well, no, you can hear me.
POB.
I didn't fancy lifting it out bloody night. I would have one must ruin that on and nothing there.
You want me to show the photo? All right.
Yeah. Post the photo.
Okay.
Is that your POB microphone?
Let me tilt it so you can sort of see it. You can sort of see the browning.
Is that a plant-based avocado, Cody?
No, it's a meat avocado, Johnny. God's sake.
We've put it off long enough. We've got to talk about the game last night.
Yeah.
So before we start, let me just put this out to the panel here. Did any of us actually think we were going to win last night before the game? Or were you the same as me? Like, it's written in the stars. We're going to fucking lose to Burnley after beating
I've got a confession to make.
You got the right score.
When they asked for the prediction yesterday on Spurs Eurasian, I said, well, I'm fed up with it. I'm going to try it the other way. We're going to lose 1-0.
I know. You did. You got it bang on.
I know.
Did you think?
I didn't think it. No.
Did anyone else think we'd lose like me? I thought, it's written in the stars. We're bound to lose.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. Any other club, right? If they've just beaten Man City.
Cody, I warned you yesterday.
Oh dear. I think she's poisoning his toast instead, Cody. Oh dear me.
Come on, Coover.
Yep. Anyone wants to join in? The link is in the chat. I've pinned it to the top of the chat. So a bit of scrollage with your mouse, and you can find it at the top there.
Come on, Coover.
More than merrier. Join in,
people. I've got to say, after any other club, right, having beaten Man City at their place, would turn around and say, "Do you know what? We're going to beat Burnley," right? And their fans would probably feel the same way. And if they lost, they would be rather shocked by that, right? Having beaten Man City, I don't think there was a Spurs fan who genuinely believed that we were going to beat, or you had genuine confidence that we were going to beat Burnley.
No.
I reckon they'd probably believe that we could, but didn't genuinely believe that we would. And then when we didn't, I doubt there was a surprised Spurs fan anywhere in the world. Right?
Honestly,
Unless
I
they
couldn't
only
even
just
get angry.
started following the club, you know.
Speaking of Spurs fans in the world, we've got a guest. Are you ready?
Ooh.
It's the Kulusevski lookalike himself.
Mm.
He's been upgraded from Ericsson. Who is it that said you look like
Colin.
Ericsson, Colin?
It was
He's
Ellie.
hairier. He's
Oh,
hairier
yeah.
than Kulusevski, though.
Yeah,
He's a lot hairier than Kulusevski.
yeah.
He needs to work on his facial hair game, but yeah.
He's only 21. He's only 21. It's too early.
What,
Too
Colin
early.
or Kulusevski?
You
I
need
wish,
to
God
shave.
damn, I wish I was only 21.
You need to shave. That's the thing.
Yes, I know,
Yeah,
I do,
yeah.
but
You know.
What's his
Yeah.
nickname? Slim or Shady, isn't it? Or something? Because his Juventus teammates thought he looked like Eminem. Is that right?
Oh, I
I don't know.
Yeah,
about
Mickey.
Mr. Kane, sent an article round, and his Juventus teammates used to call him Shady because they said he looked like Eminem. If you ever look at him,
That's I think that's racist. I don't think they've seen very many white people. I think they're saying all white people look the same.
I think so.
Racist.
As you can see from the stream tonight, we all look the same.
Colin, you're,
Right.
you're far ahead of the curve, mate. That's second wave wokeism. That's coming. Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
not here
I'm
yet.
I'm on it. I'm ready.
How are you, Colin? How are you, sir?
I'm doing really well. I was working on a homework assignment last night for 7 hours, and I finally figured out the problem that I was having, and I completed it. So that's always a great feeling. And
You need to click the end of the pencil. That's
it felt as good as a Spurs win. I jumped around, and I really did. It was amazing.
So you broke to watch the Spurs game, did you? And that was your
Uh,
stress relief. Fucking amped it up and several.
I was
levels.
like, oh, I'm gonna go code for 7 hours to get my aggression out. No, but that Spurs game though, that was dejecting. Any happiness I had built up, and any it all came crumbling down. But to be honest, guys, didn't you expect it? I expected it.
You could tell within the first 5 minutes we were going to play shit. There's a few.
Oh man, they
passes
obviously
early on.
watched the Southampton match. Is all I got to
Yeah.
say. They clearly
Nice.
watched the way the Southampton bossed us, and they did a very similar thing.
It's
Not
just,
good.
I mean, yeah, there was no. When they scored, it wasn't a case of sort of screaming out. It was like, yep,
Yeah. It's like they pressed, and we're like, wait, what do you do? How do you, pressing? What do we do? How do we get around that? And we just have no answer.
Yeah. I mean, listen, guys, with Wolves being 1-0 up, I wouldn't get our hopes up, because what they did to us, we brought on ourselves. Arsenal are they might be crap, but at least they don't do it to themselves. It's the other team being better than them that does it for Arsenal. For us,
Wolves are better than Arsenal. I reckon.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, as I say, it's not. It's very early doors. I mean, what minute was it? 10 minutes in. It's really early.
I'm gonna go put my life. I'm
whereas
gonna
with
put my
us,
life savings
with us,
on Wolves. to
Aren't
win.
they good
They
at
scored
defending
after-
though? Aren't they, Wesley?
After us, they
hopefully we can
scored
hold
after
out.
6 minutes. With us, they scored after 6 minutes, and we all knew. We knew this was going to be a bad day. Whereas
I've just had a brilliant idea,
Yeah.
boys. And we'll keep. There's no one watching, is there? So
Yeah.
Tottenham fans do watch-alongs for Tottenham games.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do watch-alongs for Arsenal games and just
Oh my
slate
God.
slate them the whole game, laugh when the
I'm
other
really,
team.
I'm really sorry, but that idea is officially stolen. Or,
good, isn't it?
I demand to be part of it, because
Yeah.
that's a brilliant
I
idea.
like that idea.
You could just
Yes.
watch it and slag them off the whole time, and
Oh
like
my
tell
God,
our
that's
favourite
smart.
stories about why we hate Arsenal and stuff, and laugh at them when
Yes,
they
yes,
copyright.
smart.
Yeah,
smart.
you see, the thing is, I don't think Dr. Tottenham will come out for that. I think it's a case of you have to believe and want a result for Arsenal. That's a fair shout. Obviously, I'm not watching. I think you'd have to want Arsenal to win for the curse to strike. Whereas if we want them to lose, the curse will work the other way and they'll win.
Anti-jinx.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, Barry, I was just gonna ask Barry, what flavor Buzz Bar you got there, buddy?
Blueberry sour raspberry.
Ooh,
sounds lovely.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I miss those.
All the flavors you can have.
We don't have good flavors here because they say they're
nice.
marketed to kids.
I've got a pineapple peach mango.
All you can get here is literally like nicotine or tobacco flavored. They don't let you do flavors here because they say that it's for the children.
Oh God, please! Oh,
there wasn't a load of children in McDonald's trying to be all bad man. So.
They're trying to take away menthol cigarettes, but they haven't done that yet, though.
They've already
done it in the UK. Yeah, they've done it in the UK. They rebranded them as greens or something ingenious like that. Instead of menthols, they could just call them greens now. We'll get on to Winks at half time, Cody, in a bit. But a little spoiler for you. When he came on, I said to my brother that we're going to lose now. Call me a soothsayer or call me someone that's seen Winks play for the last 4 or 5 years. I'm sure we all have similar fears.
Yeah, I mean, I know we'll get to him, but I honestly
he slowed the ball down every time. Then we were playing it around 1-2 touch, and then he'd get it and do a little Scott Parker.
Has it been like an official statement on our boy Bentancur? Because
you know what, Colin,
that fall looks gross. I thought he had done a ligament for sure.
I think that's why Conte had his meltdown, because he realised he's got 2 midfielders left now till the end of the season, and Bentancur has done a really serious injury. That's what I reckon he was behind his meltdown.
And what was I saying? What was I saying at the end of January, beginning of February? Stop celebrating the fucking transfer window.
Yeah, 1 injury away from devastation. Yeah. So I reckon after the game he picked up news that it was a bad one, and he's like thinking, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I've got to play Winks and probably be here for the rest of the season." Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. We don't know whenever a player slips and falls off the ball like that, it's usually a really bad injury. They're usually
it was not
absolutely fucked. His leg bent in a weird way. The fact that he continued and played is actually sort of nuts to me.
Speaking of benders, we've got a guest. Kuva making clean debut.
Evening, you happy, shiny people.
Wow.
Aren't we thrilled from yesterday? Yeah.
You know what? I feel a bit. One second.
He's getting his flat cap.
Headwear. He has got one.
He's going.
LJ, he's putting me up the top because I've got a flat cap. You need to be in the middle. And then because Rez has got a flat cap, Rez needs to be in the middle.
That is stylish now.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah,
look at that colour.
And you need to be in the middle, LJ.
With the crew.
So, but what is your lining like? Because I have happened to know that Rez has got a very tasteful pattern inside. Look at that.
Ooh, mine came from the Spurs shop, and it's just plain.
Oh, that might be cheap.
That'd be cheap. Plain mine.
Green. Look at that. It's like
I gave Daniel Levy about 40 pounds for this hat.
Mine's leather. I do
want Harry Winks inspired.
Harry's freezing.
Didn't that weirdo in the pub that was trying to sell you loads of merchandise, Colin? Didn't he give you one? Didn't he have any flat caps?
No. All he had was the kids, and then he showed me. But he did show me supposedly next year's kits that he could get already. So that was kind of cool. I got a sneak peek at next year's kits.
According to some random nutter in a pub in N17.
Yeah.
I think we have, haven't we? Has everyone got a beard apart from Alan? Alan, have you got a beard? Are you bearded up?
I mean, it's what Cody says. It's a gamut. It's
it's one without. Yeah. The range. Maybe we could put them into order of.
Oh my gosh!
Alan first, then Nick.
Yeah.
Then probably it's either you or me, LJ. I think you're a little more than stubble, and it's all over your face, and I'm a thicker but only a goatee. Then Colin, then Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that.
It's like stages.
The gamut is here.
I've been promoted. Get him.
Oh man.
Which
I'll
button is
promote
it that
you
makes
even
him
more,
pop up?
Alan.
There you go. There you go.
Alan's promoted.
Oh, thank you.
Cody, if you
Memory
saw
lane,
anything,
memory
if
lane.
you saw anything, it wasn't lice. It was my scalp because I'm going completely bald. That's why I wear the cap.
Cody's on fire tonight.
Cody's always on fire. I'm surprised he's okay. 3rd degree burn.
Cody's been slaughtering me for 2 days now.
You deserve it, Alan.
What? Because you haven't tidied your bedroom?
We were Coover. We were doing. We were saying the other day, who should we get to do our White Hot Memory Lane? And we're like, let's get Coover to do it next time. So we're in the process. We hadn't actually asked you yet. And then you were on that show the other day, weren't you? And you're like, my favourite shows are Persuasion, Tottenham on tour, Tottenham away. Everything but ours was like, right, you're actually going to the bottom of the list.
When the two of you there from Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well,
You didn't need any more promotion.
Your own channel somehow.
Yeah. You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? But they're useless, aren't they?
Well,
luckily tonight, I thought I'm going to avoid all football-related shows. Then I spotted your channel. I thought, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we've got Alan's food, beards, hats, all kinds.
Anyway,
it's true. I'm wondering, what about?
Have you two not look at that? You look like
Boys to men. Boys to men.
Guys, come on.
Oh, we won't.
Yeah,
Colin,
That's just no.
That's just silly, Ray.
No. It's just there's places you just don't go. There we go.
You look like that comedian I was on about earlier, as the Irish one, the Jiminy Cricket.
Can I pull this one off? Hey,
I think you can actually. Yeah,
I think Rez, if you have got a pair of wellies, Rez, with L and R written on the wrong feet, then
that's exactly what Johnny was talking about. Yeah.
I always get confused with my iPhone headphones because they've got the little L and the R. I'm faffing around with them for ages.
Well, yeah, stick them to a pair of wellies, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Football chat, you say? Who wants football chat? Does anyone want to talk about the game at all? Has anyone got anything to say about these heroes in front of us on the screen there?
Yeah, it's just that we literally cannot cope with any kind of a press, and that's a big problem.
Jesus Christ, you're like a Hasidic Jew now, Rez. Chelsea fan or a leprechaun.
I wore this in a what's it called, amateur dramatics production I was in, and I played a character called Saucy Jack, and I wore this hat.
You look like a cat in a hat.
You should wear it out. You just start wearing it out and see what people say.
That's a waste paper basket from the 1970s.
Use it as a pin instead.
Really well done. I mean, it's just one of those felt hats, but the director actually got this, so you can see the sort of stripe pattern. She was really clever with it. Got this sort of piece of tape, put it all the way around, spray painted it, and then sort of took the whole thing off and got this lovely pattern on it.
It's very Jamiroquai. Very Jamiroquai. I don't know.
I fell asleep, mate.
Jamiroquai. Oh my god! How did I'm surprised. Do
you know Jamiroquai in America? Colin, did he make it out there? Did he?
Yeah. I didn't expect to be thinking about Jamiroquai today. But
he lives in Princess Risborough, which is a couple of towns away from us. He's got a massive load of land. He drives his cars around.
Let's go say what's up.
Yeah. And then make statements about environmentalism.
I was seeing this girl once that lived near him, and she used to have horses, so she was riding past me. She goes, "Oh, I saw that JK today. He sort of came up to talk to me when I was on my horse, and he invited me into his house to sort of have a cup of tea." I was like, "Oh, I bet he fucking well did. I bet he did."
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Come and have a cup of tea.
Yeah. In America we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about that at all here. We don't have guys.
You don't have horses
for cups of tea. We don't have.
horses. You don't have people looking like Rez, Colin.
No horse. Not a single horse. Not a single horse to be found.
I'm going to go to extremes in a second if this carries on.
He's going for his
What are you going to put on your mankini?
There you go.
Oh, double hats.
Okay.
I wish I had the Sherlock Holmes type hat with a bill on each end.
Yeah, like Coneheads.
I will go mad with the hats.
Just imagine a 60,000 strong home crowd all wearing that next season.
Hell yeah!
We're going to mean business.
We could do the hat trick, Rick.
Oh dear,
we should just hand out flat caps to all Spurs fans on the way into the game, and then we could just be.
To be honest,
Levy out hats.
This is actually really practical. It's so warm. It is so warm when you put it on. You know, that's why I've actually taken it off now because I'm in the house. It's overheating. It's why I wear it now more than anything else. It's not a fashion statement. It's just like warmth. It's lovely.
I'm going to be swapping this shaved head in the summer. That's for sure.
What was all the rage 21 years ago? We could, in a subtle dig at Levy, we could all wear that certain hat from 21 years ago.
That's an excellent question.
What was the hat wear choice when Levy took over? Levy had hair in those days as well, didn't he? So hats weren't even a consideration.
I hope Rez doesn't come out in a mankini or something, you know.
God, can you imagine?
I hope he does.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Go.
Did you say, I hope he does, Kiva?
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Rez, you haven't got a mankini, have you?
No.
Knocking around? No?
No,
Okay,
thank Christ. I think the world would implode if I got into one of those.
Who wants to hear one of my funny stories,
Ooh,
my embarrassing moments that happened to me?
Johnny, can you make?
Yeah, there we go.
What?
Can I do what?
Yes.
What are the chances?
Amigo.
Do you know why I got this?
I
It's
don't.
on Dave Harris's show, the Irish Hotspur. He has the picture behind him, and it's a big circle. It looks like he's wearing a sombrero. so I got this off the kids.
You're like Speedy. You're like Speedy Gonzalez, Cuba. Ondale, arriba.
You do.
That's it.
You do look like you work at a Mexican restaurant.
See, all I have to do is mention Young Guns and
I
Billy the
need
Kid,
both of
and
them,
everyone's dressing up as Mexicans on the show.
Yeah.
Or Cuba looks like the Doritos band that's just retired.
Good job, we got a cowboy here. Come on, you have to shoot him all, Colin. Come on, get your old
American
Colt 45 out, man.
Right? Yeah.
We used to have a saying in this. We used to have a saying in this country, Colin. If a woman walked like very particular, that she walked like she had a Colt 45 up her ass. I don't know if it's made that to America or not.
No, but I
No?
might start saying it. Yeah, I've been using a lot of British isms that I've stolen from you guys.
Say, use it tomorrow. She's walking like she's got a Colt 45 up her ass.
I'll say it in front of my wife. I'll say it to my wife in passing, just about something. And see what she says. I'll report back.
Are you going to say it to her or just about?
Ooh, good question. That's a really good.
I'm going to say shots fired.
She killed me. She's really.
This is a country in which Colt 45s can actually be procured quite easily. So
yeah.
It's a worrying one.
Who needs a nuclear war when
to be honest, I say it wherever I go. This is what Shelfside Spurs is about. All right, football is there, but it's part of it. It's
wrong way round. This man, Ben Kaufman, he's the man you want to go to for hats.
Yes, it's true. It is
stunning collection.
Yeah.
Make Rez the big screen so he can read his post. Post-its. Where are you posting those? Does it say save the date?
Yeah, that's a wedding invitation.
Are those nunchucks above your head?
And then he's got a map with presumably all the places that he's been with pins in them.
No, this was given to me by a friend of mine who I worked with many years ago. She came from China, and she was very, very nice, and she gave me this
carrots
when she left.
Chilies.
No, they're chilies.
Chilies, are they?
Yeah. Sort of nunchucks for pacifists.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I mean, chilies are quite. If you use them properly, they're quite offensive weapon-wise. You know. So
yeah. The question on everyone's lips is, who's getting married?
That's my friend Bex is getting married.
Get her on next week. She can do White Hart Memory Lane instead of Al.
Well, she's not a Spurs fan. She's not a Spurs fan.
Before we leave the subject entirely, I'd also find it offensive if I were to eat a curry and I found a pair of nunchucks in it.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be fairly that kind of relationship going on there. You'd feel aggrieved. I think
you would.
Yeah,
you definitely wouldn't tip.
No. No, you'd have some questions to ask of the waiting staff. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
there'll be a very firm letter written to management. I'll say
yes,
that.
absolutely.
Do you get a face mask when you're learning to use the nunchucks? Because you never see anyone with black eyes and like broken teeth when they're practicing and they smack themselves until they get good at it. Do you like
Kung Fu Panda?
I just saw Cody's comment about men's league and what he called his daughter, and that's literally the funniest thing in the entire world. I think he called child services. Jesus Christ.
When you say b-ball, we're not down with the kids of America.
Oh,
is that basketball or baseball?
Yeah. It's basketball.
Could be either, couldn't it? No, it's basketball.
But it's basketball. Yeah.
Smash that like. Go on, do your little speech about not smashing people.
Yes, I mean,
let me put up the.
I've done sort of a little bit of research into this, and I've actually found that that when one sort of tries to smash a like button, it's not a particularly edifying experience. Usually in the world of computing, I found this out recently, right? With this device, which I believe they call a mouse. Is that right? Mouse, that's right. Okay. This basically moves a cursor around the screen. And what you can do is that utilizing this device, you can bring the cursor, which looks like an arrow or sometimes a finger, onto the screen and the place where you want to actually take an action. And very, very, I mean, it doesn't take much force at all, really. All you need to just a gentle click like that. You can hear it. It's very, it's very well made.
Which button was that, Rez? Sorry.
Tutorial. Google's tutorial.
You'll find basically, if you look, there's this sort of cleavage here, right? So
you do like a cleavage.
What that does is you've got two buttons, right? So one of them is called the left button, and that one's on the left, and the other one is called the right button, and that
was making notes.
Yeah. And so what you do, just click this. I think this one's the left one as
okay. I don't have
one. That's it's that one. Yeah. So that one with yours, because you don't have the cleavage, right? It's a more sophisticated one. And then you gently click like
just
that.
There.
I don't know. I'll click. So see if you guys can
lightly. Remember to do it lightly, Nick. Lightly.
Speaking of mouse cleavage, how highly would you rate Mini Mouse?
Can you hear the click? Can you hear the click?
Jessica Rabbit. Did you have Betty Boop? Betty Boop was worth a square, wasn't she, as well?
I do think
yeah.
Oh my god!
Although, if my former colleague is watching, his wife is nicknamed Betty after Betty Boop. It wasn't his wife that I was squirting after. Or maybe I should be.
Of course it wasn't.
Right. He is an Arsenal fan, so I doubt he's watching.
Good caveating there, Johnny. I like
Isn't it just? Yeah, but then again, is that me dissing his wife by saying she's not worth a squirt? I don't know.
That's a good
I've dug myself into a hole, haven't I?
Damned if you don't.
I was going to say that hole is just getting bigger, but that's probably not appropriate.
Yeah, no, it's not the one.
Thing to say right now. No.
That little tack is becoming a massive 9-inch nail, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Right.
So what about dog sex?
Who can do the best impression of Tommy gazing off into the?
Tommy's not here.
It's true. I just thought maybe as we're going down that path next week.
I don't think I've got any interesting facts about Doggy.
He messaged me on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he messaged me on Twitter and he said there was very little dog talk this week. Folks are slowly forgetting. So he obviously needs me to come on and remind him about
Shelfside Spurs never forgets. Never ever forgets.
Like elephants.
That's good, Cody. No, it's good. I mean, I couldn't believe it myself. This tiny little thing. Just this thing, I mean, it's amazing what they can do with technology these days. I gobsmacked. I really was, I was just punching my monitor because I was told to smash that subscribe button.
Smash that like.
Yeah, it didn't work. No. But this opens up a whole world of possibilities.
I'm sure it did on fuck.com.
Channel 4.
What was that? Fuck.com.
Yeah. FUQ. Yeah. It's the Google of porn. It's good.
It's like that other morning I accidentally put us online. I started screaming. I had to pretend it was me punching the monitor.
Yes. They have porn on the internet now?
Yeah. Well,
I just get in magazines from off licenses and stuff.
The good old days.
Those of us.
You missing Channel 4, Colin?
Do you remember?
I do. I'm having to watch episodes of Naked Attraction on the internet, like some kind of simpleton. I don't have Channel 4 here.
He was so.
I might get satellite TV. I might get satellite service just so that I can get it the real thing.
He was so pleased to have COVID that he decided so he could watch Channel 4.
Yeah, every night, every single night. Some of them are weird.
You do realise you were their only viewer, don't you? Not watching Channel 4 anymore.
Can I just say the amount of clips
they're trying hard with nudity.
He's got on this show for the last 40 minutes is going to be insane. He's going into overdrive.
I think we should get back to the educational. We should get back to the educational stuff. Rez, how's the best way to learn how to use a mouse with your left hand?
It's very much a question of practice, Kuva.
I actually think, Kuva, you're thinking the wrong way. It's you think you do the other thing with your left hand. Basically, you keep.
I can't comment on that.
Weird Americans, left-handed.
But what I would say,
you can mouse with the right hand.
I would say it's just a question of practice, whichever way you're going to do it. I would say, ultimately at some point you're going to have to get your sort of right and left hand sort of equally dexterous, if you want to think. But yeah, just practice. Obviously have tissues at hand because your hand gets sweaty, because you're always sort of moving it and stuff. And just if you run into trouble, from what I understand, there are telephone lines you can use now to call computer experts who might help you.
Dexterous, of course, being the technical word for sugar coated.
That's correct. Yes, dextrose, not dexterous. Yes, exactly. Yes. So yeah, I mean, as I say, just go out and explore the world.
Colin's gone to go and be dexterous.
I was just going to ask him to take a guess at what TOWIE might mean, because he doesn't know. So if you could come up with a humorous acronym.
What's the longest you've gone on this channel before you mentioned the F word?
We've done well, actually. I think we've never done it this long.
Football or...
Oh, that's it.
We're going for a record.
To not talk about
Avoid it. Avoid football.
All right. Come on, take six.
Nunchuck Club.
Right, yeah. Serious now.
First rule of Chili Nunchuck Club. So, as our illustrious guest today, Kuva, first-time caller, viewer, video person, what did you make of Hugo Lloris's performance last night? You've got the first pick of the illustrious heroes from last night. We are,
vague player rating.
Yeah.
Hugo was fine. There's nothing he could do about the goal. He's not the best with his feet in the world, but I mean, he did a job. No complaints from me. Still the best goalkeeper we've got by a mile, so nothing to complain about.
Didn't he stopped an amazing shot at some point, or was that against Man City? No, it was. It was
he did a world against City as well. He's just a great goalkeeper. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I saw these clowns on Twitter the other day saying who's the best shot stopper, De Gea or some other Premiership keeper. There's literally they listed 5 or 6 keepers in the Premiership, and they didn't even mention Lloris. I'm like, Lloris is the best shot stopper. What are you fucking on about?
Without a doubt, it's not even close.
He can't kick for shit, but his shot stopping is the best. I'd say
his distribution's pretty weak, but as a shot stopper, there is none better in the league. And I will.
Speaking of weak distribution, Alan, you get Royale.
And,
nice.
I think you should do some. Sorry, did you say Royale?
Yeah, Emerson.
Yeah. He's not a wing back, is he? He definitely ain't a wing back. It's no point having a wing back if you can't have a player that playing up that high and can't cross a bloody ball.
there's a few times last night where he got it, and you could see most people would look up to see where the player is to cross it to him, but he kind of went, I should be crossing from this position, so I better try and do as best to cross as I can just to get it into that area. But he had there's no foresight of who he was aiming for or what ball he was trying to play, was there?
One scramble. He had that one scramble, and he still failed with
left
3
foot.
attempts.
Yeah.
Can I just say it all went? No, sorry. Go on, Rez.
I just wanted to say, sort of to develop what Alan you're saying. We turn around and we say that. I mean, you said, and I agree with you, that he's not a wing back, right? But do you know what? His lack of ability to cross, in my view, doesn't make him a fullback either, because one of a fullback's jobs is to put crosses in. In modern football, a modern fullback is supposed to be considered to be the most complete footballer on a pitch. So he's not even that.
In the 4-2-3-1, they play the widest player as well.
I know this is going to sound very critical, but we used to have a player called Kyle Walker, and he wasn't very good at crossing either.
No, he wasn't. But he still made up for that lack of crossing ability with other things.
Yeah.
Emerson doesn't.
Kyle Walker did at least learn to sort of sling the ball into a dangerous area at some point. And that was good enough because players adapted to know that was coming.
And this is what gets me about Emerson is that people are rushing to his defense for no reason, right? It's not. Listen, if he's no good, he's no good. He might be good in the future, but we cannot afford to have that weak a player in that position, especially under this manager whose system relies on it. By all means, keep him, develop him. I have no objection to that. I don't want him dragged across the coals or crucified because he can't put a cross in. I would love for him to learn to put a cross in, but that's going to take time. Until that happens, we need someone effective in that role.
To put it in context,
it was a bit like Watford game, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Burnley literally left him all along.
Let him have it,
Let him have it because he can't.
Go on, Cougar.
I was going to say he's 23 years old and he can't cross a ball. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but even at amateur level, I learned to do that when I was about 9 or 10.
Yeah. To give you some context, George Best won the European Footballer of the Year at age 22. So for everyone that keeps saying he's young, George Best had conquered the world by 22. I know it's obviously a different player, but young
not
players.
Even talking a great skill, are we? It was just a standard crosser of the ball would be good.
Absolutely.
Gary Neville at Man United. Hollywood Phil Lattis always brings this one up. Gary Neville, he's not a wing back. He never was. He could cross a ball.
Good crosser, yeah. We're amazing that we ever scored any goals with Kyle Walker and Aaron Lennon in the team, wasn't it? Because neither of the fuckers could cross, could they?
But I mean, you know what? Kyle Walker and Aaron Lennon, they both had amazing pace.
Yeah.
Emerson doesn't even have that. So he's not that fast. He can't cross. His defensive positioning can be suspect at times. And it's like, we paid 30 million euros for this player? Really?
There was a passage of play. I brought this up on somebody's channel the other night. It might have even been Tottenham Tantrum goal, can't remember. But in the 48th minute, there was we'd put in I forgot we put in the cross from the left, and it went over to the right hand side of their box. Emerson went up to meet it, and he didn't even challenge for it, and it was a 50-50 ball.
So he
then followed that up with about the next 15-20 seconds of him chasing back down the right wing, failing to put challenges in. He was like doing a little girly sort of leg dangle as that was supposed to be a token challenge apparently, and he did it 3 times in a row, and I actually felt embarrassed for him. It was so bad.
Was that a duel or a tackle?
I don't know what you call it. I've seen people hanging up Christmas decorations with more anger.
Yeah, Kane went and stood next to him, didn't he, at one stage, and this is how you cross it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have we got to the point where it's worth? I think I know the answer to all 5 of you, but I don't want to preempt it. Where we need to give one of the youngsters a chance at the right wing back But obviously Doherty's the next cab in the rank again now, isn't he? So you'd think Doherty will play against Leeds. But is it when does it become time to just say, you know what, these two have got no future with the club. Let's put one of the youngsters in. At least they're going to be all energy. They're willing to learn. They're going to put everything in for the badge.
I'd say now. I'd say right now. They've both demonstrated that they can't do it. They can't do what's required.
Could it have been Conte last night getting to the point that Pochettino got to where he had enough of the established players and he thought, ripped up the sheet and then away we go with young, hungry players. Yeah. Maybe they might come in against Leeds.
Yeah, maybe.
Really hope.
Maybe.
I think some of those substitutions were it was Conte just showing his frustration at what he's got available. Because what else could it be? Moving Decky over to play as the right wing back at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
That said it all. I mean, I've jokingly said this. I've jokingly said before. Why don't we just play with no right wing back? We'll just ignore it. Pretend there's nobody. Pretend there's somebody there. Just put another forward on. Now I actually mean it.
do a Musa Sissoko. Do you remember we used to put him in the middle, but he would cover Aurier on the right? Just do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Why not?
Oh, except we don't have a central midfielder. We don't have enough central midfielders. Sorry.
Good point. That.
I think he scored last night. Apparently, quite a good goal. Someone said.
Yeah.
He did score
away. Rez, you rather luckily
resume their careers when they leave us, unless they go to Everton.
Yes. Rez, you rather luckily get Romero. What did you think of him last night? Obviously, somewhat at fault for the goal, but other than that,
well, I don't blame him for the goal. I don't. That was just you watch it in slow mo and the right angle. He went for the ball. It was just the perfect free kick. It really was. It was an amazingly good free kick, and it just delivered the ball in the perfect area for Ben Mee to head it in. And there was very little that QT or Hugo could have done, really. So you know what? The point is, for me, the fact that Burnley scored is not the issue in the whole game overall. For me, it's the fact that we just were toothless, right? We should have been putting a club of Tottenham's pedigree, right, should be dispatching Burnley as they are now. It's not the 60s when Burnley were a strong side, right? They're Burnley. They're 18th in the league, or I think they were bottom yesterday when we played them, right? We should be dispatching a club like Burnley, and that's not entitlement. That is a statement of fact, okay? A result like that should be a freak result, not something that we expect. Anyway, Romero, in terms of the goal, wasn't. I don't blame him for that. I do blame him I do criticize him for a couple of misplaced passes that sort of ceded possession a couple of times, which was a bit worrying. But generally, he was solid in a team that wasn't playing very well overall. There's not much more you can say about him.
Do we have to do a tie from Arsenal Fan TV and take into consideration the weather last night? Because obviously wind and rain can be a bit of a leveler in sport, can't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, look, weather conditions play a part, but ultimately both teams are victim to it. You know, it's not as if the wind only blew when we had possession and the rain stopped when Burnley had possession. You know,
did it not, Rez? Did it not?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
I was surprised. I was as shocked as you were, Nick. I really was.
Okay.
After hearing about what Ty has said and Klopp has said, in the past, I always thought that the weather picked sides in a football match, but allegedly not.
Well, okay.
Allegedly not.
The rain would have eased off if we played 3-5-2. I mean, what was Conte thinking?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, the rain was Burnley's 12th man.
in fairness, though, in Sunday League football, if you're playing a better team than you and the weather's pissing down the rain and windy, it does level out the abilities somewhat. The better team can't play their game, so obviously if we take it to the nth degree, then I guess there must be a small element of it in the Premier League.
But we're hardly super Spurs at the moment, are we?
No.
It's a minor factor, and
it does rain up there, up north.
Yeah.
They love it a bit.
Baswa, Eric Dyer, second game back.
Kind of went missing. if I'm honest, like the rest of them. I didn't really see anything of note or anything of good or bad. It just kind of went missing, really. I don't know whether he thought he was going to get called up for World War III with his new haircut. I don't know. It wasn't
Nothing
really.
to add.
I mean, looking at all of them. I mean, the only real point of note for me in the whole game was Kane's header hitting the crossbar and Decky coming off because he injured himself. Apart from that, there wasn't really anything else to really.
That chance, Decky, didn't he, when he cut in off the from the right wing back and
but apart from that, I wasn't. I mean, if I'm honest, I wasn't really paying much attention after the first 10 minutes because we were just so poor, and I was having an argument with a Leeds fan about him saying that we're going to get battered by Liverpool, and then obviously they did. So he was happy because they only lost 6-0. What a time to be alive!
Dr. Tottenham calling. Who are they playing next? Come on, fucking hell.
Exactly, and they've been battered. They were battered by United, and they were on a Sunday league pitch. They were battered by Liverpool, so that means they're going to beat us on Saturday.
Yeah.
Definitely. Get down the bookies, boys.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Brian Daigle's going to it, so it could be a free team.
Yes, it's true.
That's true. Lucky one.
You know what?
If you think we're gonna score 3 goals, then I mean I can see us conceding.
Leeds are more open.
There is that. That is true.
They do not.
They can't defend. So yeah, I think if I'm honest, I think we will. We've got more chance because they're not a low block team, are they? So, and thank you, Aaron, for sending your rain and shit weather over here.
I'm going to break with tradition here and cut off this player review because I'm just looking through the players and no one did anything, did they really? Like Nick said, Decky had that chance on the left. Kane hit the bar.
The only thing that I will say is Højbjerg was utter dog shit yesterday, and I mean dog shit.
Well, this is where it comes in. Our defense was okay yesterday. It was the midfield and forwards that were just
the wing backs.
The wing backs. It was the wing backs. It was the midfield, and obviously once Decky went off and Harry Winks, the player that Conte can trust. Once he came on board, then I mean I kind of just switched off because it was just a normal shit show. But yeah, Højbjerg was. I don't know what's happened to him. I don't think. I mean, if I'm honest, there's not really much to say about the rest of them. I don't want to ruin the thread and move on to the next one, but there really wasn't really much to say. If
Payne hit some good passes again. Kulusevski had some good moments, but he looked our brightest player. I thought most likely to create something.
Yeah, one of those I'd agree with. Yeah.
I
was very good. I'm worried about Sonny. I really am. For some unknown reason, it's as if he's got a bet with his dad that he can score with his left foot.
You're wrong, Alan. Look at the stats.
Yeah, look at the stats, Alan. What do the stats say?
What do the stats say? Don't use your eyes. Just look at the stats afterwards.
He's having the best season, Alan. He's having his best
season at night time.
He's putting up the numbers, Alan. He's putting up the numbers.
His performance, I think, sort of reflects his career in a way. He has purple patches where he looks really, really good and starts scoring the goals, which he did in this game. He had some really good runs, occasionally doing some really great things, and then just goes off the boil all of a sudden, and you don't see him for a little while. And that's what I thought he was doing yesterday.
There was a couple
of occasions, okay though.
But there was a couple of occasions where he looked like he would be able to take one of his right shots on. You know what I mean? In the right place, put an effort in. And then he passed.
Sorry, Alan. Will Stewart's on the phone. He says, "Have you checked the stats?"
That's a word.
He's having the best season. I know, mate. Okay, I know. He hasn't checked the stats.
I've got itchy nose.
You're right, Will. Everyone else is wrong, Will. You're right. Everyone else is wrong.
Now, children.
Look, we're allowed to be mischievous, Reznor.
Yes, it's true.
Don't pretend We're just being.
You're the one that taught us to be like that, Rez.
That's also true. That is
Well,
also
there
true.
was one highlight for me throughout the match, though. First half, because I think Højbjerg and Bentancur, they got utterly overrun by Burnley. The difference between the two players was Bentancur knew how to play out of trouble. Højbjerg struggled to do it. Otherwise, they were passing sideways, backwards. They had no answer to a lot of things. Really disappointing. But what I did like to see is when Harry Winks came on, he seized his chance to show them who the master is at passing sideways and backwards, and he nailed it. It was a seamless transition from not doing much to not doing much.
I mean, that little surge forward he had, Rick. That little surge forward. I thought, go on. And then he turned around and went backwards. I thought, oh.
Yes. Oh, dear.
I'd say what
Big up, Bob. Good to see
Bobby.
you.
Sessegnon's a worry. Hi, Bob. Sessegnon's a worry, isn't he? He just doesn't follow instructions. That's why he kept getting hauled off by him, because he likes him to be high and wide, doesn't he? And he was just sat on Davis's basically knee the whole game again, wasn't he? I think that was another reason.
Cuts inside too much.
Can I ask a question? Isn't his brother who plays? I don't know if he still plays for Fulham. Were they twins? Because this Sessegnon that we've got at Spurs, I'll tell you something: can't controllable, he can't passable, and he can't score. So I don't know who he is.
Steven Sessegnon, is it?
There's the infamous story, isn't there?
They were twins, I think.
There's the infamous story that AC Milan, when they bought Leafer Blissett, they wanted to buy John Barnes, didn't they? So I wonder if Iggy's watching, if that's true or whether it's an urban myth.
No, it wasn't so much it was John Barnes, it's the fact they didn't even know he was black.
What, Leafer Blissett?
Yeah.
Oh,
they went to meet him off the plane and didn't realise he was black.
Alan, they're not twins, no. I think double checking. And he's actually now he's on loan from Fulham and he's playing in Plymouth Argyle for Plymouth Argyle.
Okay, thanks. It's just made me
wonder. No. Tell a lie. Yes, he is the twin of Ryan. He is the twin. But they have an older brother as well. Actually, they've got an older brother and a cousin, also footballers. One of them is called Chris, which is the brother, and you have Stefan Sessegnon, who is
Can we please have the one that we bought for £40 million, please?
It's odd, isn't it, Alan? Because you think as a former winger, going forward would be his strong point of his game, wouldn't it? But he can't seem to take anyone on. He doesn't want to run into space, does he, and get beyond and put crosses in. He plays it very safe every time.
Someone put that deep ball over to him yesterday, and for some unknown reason, he had to try and trap it in the air with his foot.
Yeah.
When it would have been easier to go, boom, chest it down and put it across or put it in. And I'm thinking,
sometimes I wonder if it's that performance he did against Liverpool where he was really good. I wonder if that's. I'm talking too much about Sessegnon. He's off. Yeah, he did really well against Liverpool, but it was more on a defensive sort of side of things and keeping Salah quiet. And I just wonder if maybe that plays on his mind that if he's going to play well, he has to do well defensively, and he's like stifled his own attacking intent.
I think that red card plays on his mind as well, Kuba, because you can see him a few times in the last two games where he's gone to smash someone, he's kind of pulled back, hasn't he? And he's not playing very aggressively, he's just playing within himself. So maybe he's worried about that game where he got the second yellow. And
I mean, I'm always mindful. I'm always mindful of trying to sort of draw conclusions from situations of sort of little empirical evidence. But just the more and more I watch this current squad, even as it's gone through its changes, I can't come to any other conclusion in that they just don't enjoy or they don't have that buzz for football that other clubs have. These players, seriously, they're not that bad when you look at them on paper, right? They're not. We will sort of lambast them and call them shit, but they're not. They're all, either full internationals or have certainly represented their country at youth level. That's not a bad player. That's a player that's either good or has got a lot of potential. And yet they arrive through the gates at Hotspur Way and something vanishes.
I don't know, Rez. Like you said earlier, I think Kuva, you said the team that when Levy took over, the Hoddle team, if you put that on paper against that team at the bottom there, I think the Hoddle team's much better, isn't it?
I'll do, yeah.
Yeah.
We had Ledley King, Sol Campbell, Stephen Carr, Darren Anderton, Teddy Sheringham, Les Ferdinand.
Yeah.
There's, I mean, even the likes of Stefan Freund, would you really say is that much different to Højbjerg?
Same as Højbjerg, isn't he? Yeah.
I wouldn't know. But that's the thing. It's there is something that they don't have when they. How often have we seen them hungry? You know, in a game. Yeah, this is it. You know, how often do we see them and we think, yeah, they're really hungry for it since Poch left?
Do you think life's just too easy for them at the club? I'm making this point on another channel. You remember Wimbledon from the 1980s? Wooden benches in the dressing room, ghetto blaster out, just all team spirit, work hard for each other all game long. Well, we've got this really, everything's high tech there, everything's at the players' fingertips. Even if they get injured, it's a nice experience. Can just relax, get a massage in the treatment room.
Yeah.
Is it?
It may well be that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just made too easy. Get out there. Get hungry for it. Let's strip the facilities down and get them on hard wooden benches and then send them out.
Yeah.
That'll do.
As I said on Tottenham on tour earlier, at the end of the day, these boys nowadays have got no. They play for that. They don't play for the badge anymore. They play for.
Yeah, but Alan, this is the thing. Look, I know where you're coming from, and I think that's true. But I think that's true of all footballers, right? You've got Man City who play ridiculous wages, Chelsea who pay ridiculous wages, Liverpool who pay ridiculous wages. Why are they not suffering what we suffer?
True. Yeah.
That's the thing. If it was just, let's say we paid the highest wages in the league, I'd say, yeah, it's because of that. And it would be a logical conclusion. But you look at Liverpool, they fucking kill themselves when they step out onto that pitch almost every game. You know, Man City, even though they are probably the wealthiest among the wealthiest footballers in the world, right? They play with verve. They play with a desire to win. I don't see that with our players.
No, true.
I don't see it that often. I know I can't figure out why. That's my biggest problem. I can't figure out. It's sort of thing there. Why aren't they doing it? You know?
Oh, just knows what Iggy's saying.
Yeah, Iggy's confirmed that it was an urban myth.
Oh, okay.
I've heard it so many times, though. I thought, that sounds true. I mean, you get that perception of, it's Italy and racism especially back in the day. You'd believe it, but yeah, okay, fair enough, mate.
Iggy is a Milan chap, so
yeah, I wouldn't argue on Iggy on anything over Italian football. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Rez, you touched on briefly there some of the issues within the squad. How did you take on board the Conte interview after the game yesterday? What did you take it to mean? Do you want to?
It's difficult to interpret. There could be any number of explanations for it, but what I am sort of interested in is the truth of what he's saying, and for me, what he's saying is true, and it was true when Mourinho said it as well. Remember, so it was called same players, different manager, or whatever it was he said. It was true then, and it's true now. This is why I keep coming back to the idea of that it is the corporatization of the club, the focus on business, the far, far too much interaction that Levy has with the squad. That for me is the problem. And this is just Conte basically saying, look, this is what I'm up against, right? I've got no other option. I've got to speak. Or it is a realization of the situation that he's found himself in. Now, the thing that I've heard a lot today from a number of people, both those that sort of I am aligned with in terms of their view of the board and those that I'm not, is that this was somehow a bad thing for him to say. and that he has done damage to our prospects for the season. But I'm sorry, what I was saying on Tottenham on Tour is there's this Roman Archbishop called Helder Camara who turned around and said, when I give food to the poor, they call me a saint. When I ask why people are poor, they call me a communist. And that's very much the attitude that I've come across today, is that they're having a go at Conte for what he said rather than analysing why he said it and actually trying to identify the root cause of it. The root cause of it is terrible, terrible mismanagement of a football club. I cannot point it at anything else. And him coming out and saying it, whatever his motivations be, people are saying, oh, he's only doing it to protect himself. How is that a sin? Does that disqualify him from A, speaking, or B, being the Spurs manager? No, it doesn't, right? But he's speaking truth. He's saying true things. Look at what he said and agree with it, rather than try to find a reason for disagreeing with it.
But Rez, do you think it's just kind of taking a step back, and we all know what the issues are, right? So I don't think we need to go through that. But do you not think, and listening to everyone's views and listening to what they think is that last week he said that they were the best group of players that he had, and they took, or was he talking about as people?
He didn't say that, Nick. People, exactly.
People, not players.
Yeah. So he's choosing different words, and people interpreting to it as that. Yeah. So I get, I understand that, but why now and not after the transfer window? Do we think there's, like Johnny said, do we think Roddy Piper? Do you think his injury was much worse, and then that's why he blew his shit last night?
Possibly, maybe.
And fed up with Sessegnon and Emerson not listening to his tactical instructions.
I mean, do you know what, guys? I think what we're doing, and again, this comes back to that quote from the Archbishop guy. We're analysing what Conte said and searching for his motivation for it. Whereas we should be looking at the content of it and seeing the truth of it and understanding the truth of it. And I know that right now there's not a huge amount anyone can do. We can't buy any more players. We can't have another transfer window until the summer. We can't do anything except wait and see. But while we're doing that, in the same way that when we go on about this player being shit, that player being shit, sort of getting granular about it, we're missing the point of why are our players shit? Why do we have shit players? Those, for me, are more important questions that we bypass when we spend time thinking, well, why did Conte say this? It's like, why is Conte saying that himself rather than what are the reasons that have prompted him to say it? Those are the things for me. It's like, what has prompted him to say it, not why is he saying it, if that makes sense. I know it's a very sort of thin line to distinguish between them. I don't care that he said it. I'm happy that he said it. I want him to be. Any criticism of the board, as far as I'm concerned, is fair game, and I want to hear it in public because it's the only way that we're going to elicit any kind of change, I think.
Speaking of people we want to hear in public. Iggy, how you going, boy?
I'm doing. How you doing, boys?
Good.
Always.
Hey, Iggy, I saw your show the other night. Now, is that a Chelsea picture behind you?
Oh,
only joking.
Kick him out.
Kick him out. Yeah.
Kick him out for being so rude to our guests.
That was rude.
There we go.
Sorry, Iggy. We are deeply sorry. Okay.
Yes.
Just like I was sorry about what I said on We Are Tottenham TV, and I've made a public apology to you. And
what did he say? What did he say?
I said about that we were going to get beaten by Man City, and then you put a comment up. I don't know whether it was aimed at me, but you said don't watch the game and everything else. So
it wasn't aimed at you. It wasn't.
No. But then I took on board, and Rez will vouch for me before the City game.
Someone's playing about.
For God's sake.
No. Listen, I'm not sure what happened, but guys, in all honesty,
I'm sure, Iggy, 100%. I'm sure what happened, mate. So, but no, we are loving. I must say, and I'm sure everyone else and the viewers, your posts in the morning are very, very inspirational, and they do.
I appreciate it. I do appreciate it, guys.
And also listening to you guys, you got a lot of knowledge. Probably more than us five put together. So,
let's not exaggerate now. Let's not exaggerate.
You know when you go to when you go to Liverpool and you do like a Beatles tour, like various places around Liverpool. We were walking up to the hospital the other day, and we saw that sign that you did one of your videos onto the other day. So me and Nick were like, "Hey, there's where Iggy did his video the other day of like a little tour around." It was like a pub. It had a mural on the wall saying. Come on,
that's you know where that is, right? The LT on the corner there. Because I work not far from there, so I pass that area and the training ground. It's an area of the where I work that I cover. So for me being there, I can be there in no time. So listen, this is the let me explain to how the whole thing started. If you don't mind, we will get back to the content.
No, of course, yeah.
How the whole video thing, the idea of going to Hotspur Way, one, because for the reason I just said, I can get there. Also, there was, in conversation that I had, similar to what we're doing right here, there was a lot of fans, Spurs fans, right across the globe, and obviously, as you know, how the idea of Tottenham Away started, even the name itself, was to connect with fans across the global. So we were speaking to a lot of supporters clubs. So recently we had a Spurs Italia, but we've done South American. And what one of their most experienced the experience that they wanted to experience the most, sorry the trick of words there, was to not only go to the stadium, which we are all very fortunate enough to do on a regular basis. Although right now perhaps it's not considered as a something you want to do. But there's a lot of fans across the world. They want to be at the stadium. They want to visit the training ground, or they would like to experience being around it. And I'm thinking to myself, and I've got the training ground 10 minutes that way. I've got the stadium 10 minutes that way, right from where I work. And I think to myself, there's a little bit that I can do from here to allow them to feel a little bit closer to their team, to their manager, to the players, and everything else. And honestly, the comments I've been getting underneath those videos on a daily basis, the DMs that I get, I mean, it's too far and too many to even mention. I'm not exaggerating, guys, when I say this, of just thank yous. Listen, I'm getting a bit welled up here just saying it, because it's so, honestly, guys, it's so overwhelming, the amount of people that DM, the message under the videos that I do in the morning. You guys can check it out. It's all there, of just people saying what they feel, how they feel about it. They're thanking me for being there. They're thanking me for doing the videos there. And I was just like, that was the purpose of it. In my mind and in my heart, that was the purpose of me being there. Because don't get me wrong, you get people saying, and you got a job, mate. And you got a job to do. They're like, why you at, for every few you get what I just mentioned, you get the one saying, get a job, mate. Loser outside the state, outside the there are those people too, but I'm not. Those people will always be there. But if I can just get that one comment or two comments and just people saying, "Thank man, I live in New Zealand, I live in Australia, I live in Colombia, or whatever." There's so many Spurs. That's the thing that blew my mind, is just how many Spurs fans there are outside and they are living this situation. The Conte conversations you guys are having, they're living it, and they cannot be near the boys to encourage or support or even to calm us down because we I live in North London, so it's at the moment right now it feels intense. The intensity probably is not as felt away, but believe me, that's a complete myth as well, because they do feel that what we're
Cody
living
called-
right now. So
Cody called his 1-year-old the C word earlier over Spurs, so that's how much he's feeling.
Now, before you boys ask, right? Before you boys even consider asking, I know I live close. I know I don't work. I know I'm not standing outside that bloody stadium or the training ground doing an interview. Just letting you know.
Why not, Al? Why not? How dare you?
Yeah.
You haven't even got a job. Iggy's got a job, and he's
horses for course. I don't wear those clothes because that is the clothes I like to wear. Now, that is actually my work uniform that I have to wear. So that cap, that black jacket, it's all my work uniform.
I don't like the cold.
You know what? Today, the weather today, doing that video outside that ground was perfect mood. It completely encapsulated the mood of how we all felt.
Yeah.
And you can hear the cars in the main road, and you could hear the sound of the rain. It was just like, man, this is really, really typical of the moment. And do you know what? Can I bring a big shout out for the fans that travelled all that bloody way? Like Graham, I saw his comment earlier. He came back at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Honestly, these guys, I'm not all Spurs fans did, but particularly these guys that really committed to going to every away ground to support the team and get so little back in regards to yesterday's performance. Listen, they deserve a lot better, and as this is something that I think Conte also mentioned in this post-match conference, that the Spurs fans deserve better than this.
When you went to bed last night, did you honestly think you'd wake up this morning with Conte gone? Did half of you think that, or did you take his statement differently?
I have the good fortune of being able to not only as an Italian, but also that I've been brought up. I've grown up in England. I've grown up in North London. I lived in Rivulet Road, which is 5-minute walk away from the stadium. I get that Spurs world. I get how we are as a fan base, but I also get how Italians are, especially Southern Italians. I know that mindset, and I have uncles. I have that in my family. I have Contes in my life, in my family, as family members. So I completely and utterly get Conte. That point of the conversation, explicit how it is, he lives and breathes the moment. He will say something there and then because that's how he truly felt. In that moment, he was like, 4 defeats in 5 games. It's just, this is just his ego. His ego is just like, almost like won't let him have it. So him saying what he said, I took it. This is how I interpret it. I took it as listen, if I'm going to go through this bumpy road, there's got to be a pot of gold come summer, because otherwise, what am I doing this for? And I think as well, the communication between they're not managers in Italy, they're coaches, because they have the director of sport and they have the president, which is what we call the chairman, and so forth. But there's always a daily link between them 3 guys, the constant communication. And I don't know if Conte's getting that communication, not necessarily with Paratici. I don't know if he's getting it with the hierarchy above. He's probably trying to think, what are these guys thinking, or what? Because I don't think the daily communication is there. So yes, he's prodding the owners to say, I'm laying the foundations now, so we don't come to the summer where you don't know what I want. Telling them what they want in the summer is going to be too late. I'm planting the seeds now, so you all know what I want, because this right here is not acceptable. But at the same time, it does make me think like where Conte is at mentally, because he was like, I'm going to work on smiling. The boys are giving me everything after the Man City game, and it took 3 days later to then come out with what yesterday. The truth is somewhere in between. I think he does he does think the boys are working hard. I do believe that. I think the guys are giving him everything, but the reality is they're just not good enough.
No, they're
Or
not.
certainly as a squad, it's not to the level that Conte wants them at, and he recognises that. So he's telling the board, "Listen, I'll go through this bumpy ride with you, but come summer, we have to mean business because otherwise, I'm ready to walk now." Because as he said before, managers are come and gone. Players are still here and the results are still the same. Can it always be the manager? No, the answer is clearly no. And do you know what the funny thing is? That whilst Conte is saying all of this, these are exactly the same thing Mourinho was saying.
Yeah.
All Conte's done is reiterate everything that Mourinho was telling us a year or two ago, which we kind of knew anyway. So, listen, guys, no, I never thought, to answer your question, John, I never thought that was his way of saying I'm leaving, because for me, he's somebody like, he doesn't need to announce he's leaving, he'll just go.
Yeah.
He'll just say, forget everything. I'm honest, like he said, I'm honest, the salary, blah, blah, blah. This is not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it to be ultra competitive. And let's be honest, he can walk into a job tomorrow. People will be there to snap him up.
Although I saw a comment on a stream today saying that if Conte walks, he'll have trouble. Employees will hesitate before hiring him. It's like, what? Mark Hughes is still finding work, and you think Conte would have trouble?
Steve Bruce.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Will he feel differently? No, Paul, sorry, to answer that question, Paul, I don't think he'll feel differently. I don't think that mindset will change in him. That's inbred in him. He will probably look at it back and say, a bit like the post reaction I did after the Man City, where I used a lot of foul language, but I was caught in a moment. It was just pure adrenaline. A lot of people loved it, but in my mind, the very next day when I looked back at that video, I thought, do you know what? I've got two boys that watch those videos. There's many, my two sons are my biggest followers. So I'm thinking they've just seen their dad go absolute skits after, in the moment as the game ended. And I've got to try and remember that there are other people's kids out there. I have to have that mind. So maybe doing a reaction video straight after the final whistle is not the way forward, or I need to review how I do them. But I hope he feels differently in the sense of where he can't come out with such explicit content straight after post-match interview. But this, for a journalist, is gold, because they can look at what we're doing here. Look at the streams. How many of these are going around the world on the back of that very interview? Yeah. He maybe needs to say, you know what, I need to give myself 20 minutes, half an hour to still get what I want to say, but maybe not to do it. So because it's unsettling. It's unsettling for all us all as fans. It's unsettling to him. He can be so happy one day and completely miserable. But he's living that moment. I go back to saying that same thing. It's his heart's on his sleeve, and he's living that moment. And sometimes he needs to be a little bit less of a fan and a bit more of someone who's trying to manage expectations, because he's managing our expectations and fourth spot and all of this, that, and the other, the hierarchy's expectations. And he's saying that, I think he needs to find a balance as well a little bit. I think it's too much. Like today, you can see it all on social media. You can see it on the news. It's too much, guys. And it's a bit. Some people might even find it overwhelming. It's like, whoa, I need to step back from Spurs because it's getting doing my head in. But
did they have a written media press conference last night? Because I saw obviously the video after the game with the TV cameras. But did they have the usual written media press conference with Ali Gold and all that lot?
They did, but that wasn't even what he said there. It wasn't. It was quite forthcoming. But the match of day one that he did was actually even more. More raw, and he said along the lines of, if I'm the problem, if I'm not good enough, he clearly doesn't believe that he is good enough. He's like, if you basically, the way I took it is, I know people often with Italians and general Mediterraneans, the biggest thing that people got to get to grasp with is not what he's saying; it's reading between the lines of what he's saying. He's saying I'm willing to take this on. That's my I'm willing to take this project on. But for me to turn this round, I'm going to need the backing. And as you know, the backing costs money. And that's the part that I'm not too sure about Daniel leaving. Where is that? And
Same. I said last week, it's a waste of all of our time for 6 months, isn't it? We've got to watch bloody Emerson Royale and Doherty try and cross the ball for 6 months when they could have easily remedied it by getting someone in. Conte's got to train up people like Winks and Emerson Royale and Doherty and Sessegnon, who he doesn't want next season. It's a waste of his time, isn't it? 6 months of his training up people that he's not going to use next season.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm willing to go through this bumpy ride and put up with this fucking mediocrity, if you like, but promise me that at the end of that come summer, we're going to sit down and mean business, and I want my Tottenham team, not somebody else's Tottenham team that I've inherited. I want my team to be involved.
Not some four, because it's just like a mishmash
completely
of 4 previous managers.
But this is why, if you remember, as he said, like, you know, there's been a recruitment mistakes have been made because we're not just identifying the players, we're not identifying the characters of those players coming in. What do they bring on a character point of view? Because Conte needs to look at these guys and he needs to see the mirror image of himself. He needs to see warriors out there, people that are willing to fight and bleed for the shirt. And that's the first characteristic they've got to have, even before they start kicking the ball. So I think that's what he means about recruitment. We're not identifying these characters to go along with the quality that they possess with the football. And I think that's super, super important. Can I just quickly say, big up yourself, Bob? So I saw Bob's message earlier. Bob, I saw your tweet, and I'm sure most of everyone has today. You saw your tweet and you walked for the first time in God knows how long. Mate, keep punching, keep fighting, keep doing what you're doing.
Get on the pitch,
we can't wait to be at a curry house together and talk about Spurs and everything that we love to do. So, mate, keep punching, keep fighting. And as you rightly said, we have still much to do, my friend. So,
Iggy, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
With Paratici, when he done his business for Juventus, was it not as late like lastminute.com like Tottenham, but was it still quite late in the window that most of the business was done?
With Fabio, he did a brilliant job when Juventus were relegated years ago on the back of this very World Cup here. Did a match fixing scandal and stuff like that, and he did a brilliant job to recruit, to bring that team back up to Serie A. But with that, he made a lot of cock-ups, and he made a lot of cock-ups with some of the signings. But he had his mentor, which is Beppe Marotta, which is the director of sport, director of Inter Milan now. And he was the main man then. Fabio Paratici was somebody that was under him, he was assistant. He was studying him. Now he's gone off on his own. And to be honest with you, I don't know. This is the 2 things I'm still trying to evaluate with him. And I don't know if he's been given a green light, if he's been given the go ahead to actually go identify the players and recruit them, or is he just been put there as a screen for Daniel Levy? So if anything goes wrong, he gets hit first. I'm still trying to work that out, mate. I don't know what the purpose of having him there is yet.
It's just that I worry. My worry is, as I say, it was like lastminute.com in the summer, and it was lastminute.com again in the winter, and it's a case of that is right down Levy Street. You know what I mean? Doing everything last minute. I'm just worried that if we tried that in the summer, I think Conte might walk by the 1st of July.
Absolutely. What's the one thing, Alan? I'll ask you. What's the one thing Conte has always said about whenever he joins teams? He hates joining teams during the season. He wants to start always in the pre-season. Why? Yeah. Because he wants to get
his message over.
He also wants to get him to the standard of fitness, the standard level of expectations from him. He wants to get it in there straight away in the summer, which is why he runs them ragged. but also he wants to get the players in early so he can get his ideas in early.
Exactly.
So to answer your question, Alan, to get those players in the last minute isn't going to wash. He won't. If that is the way that we'll go, he will do exactly what he did with Juventus in pre-season. He said, "You know what? Enough. I'm leaving," and that was it. They didn't have a manager in forthcoming. He just announced in the middle of pre-season that he was leaving, and because he and Agnelli had different ideas. There was more to it, but in that moment, we had different ideas, and he was going to leave because they were selling his best players. He did that at Inter. He's not going to put up with it, Alan. I think
And do
we
you know
need
what? This is the
we
thing.
need to get into it
Yeah.
straight away, guys.
This is the issue with Paratici, and I think it's actually the latter, or there's more evidence to suggest it's the latter scenario that you raised about whether or not he's actually there to do a job or if he's going to be used as a screen. The reason I say that is because Juventus are never sluggards when it comes to doing their business, right? We know this. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world. They will always do their business. Like with Vlahovic, they did that nice and quick. Good to see you, Gaguma. The fact that we, on the 27th of January, were still chasing Adama Traore suggests to me that Levy is still very heavily involved in transfer.
Absolutely, that's
right. Because no one does that. Nobody. Only Spurs. Only Levy does this ridiculous brinksmanship, where it's always paring the deal and paring the deal and paring the deal down, slicing as thinly as possible down to that last penny. You know, anyone else would have sucked it up and said, you know what, how much do you want, Wolves? Let's come to a price today and get it done. Not what price do you want? We'll come back to you in 3 days with a couple of pence closer, and then get your counter offer and counter offer and counter offer. You know, Morata, which, as you say, was the master and is now at Inter, you know, Paratici would have learned from him, right? Morata doesn't do that, doesn't play that stupid game. So why would Fabio Paratici learn that game? He wouldn't.
This is it. But that the sporting director at Inter, he's given full control of player recruitment, because ultimately, if it gets it wrong, his head's the ones on the line. So it's right that he takes that responsibility. But this is what sporting directors do in Italy. They are in tune with the manager, which is what I believe Paratici was the one that got Conte in. I definitely feel he played a part in getting him in, because he refused us in the summer because something obviously didn't tally up. Then what happened between the summer and when he actually came in? What changed for Conte?
Paratici was hired because we were trying to hire them sort of at the same time.
Yeah.
Conte didn't come, but Paratici did.
Yeah.
And so now we had that influence to bring him in. But
so this is what I'm saying. Why we did so well to get them in, and we was all ecstatic when he pulled that off, or whoever pulled it off. We was all ecstatic as a result of it. Now we find ourselves. This is what I don't understand, and then I know you guys have spoken about this as well. What is the thinking? What is the thinking of bringing this guy in? That you know what he's all about. You know his history with like we said, Juventus, Inter. He will go into he will go to war with the owners if they start messing him about, and he will get the fans on side, because Inter Milan fans are still pissed off that he went, and we will feel exactly the same if he was to leave Spurs. And where would that leave us ultimately with the club and the owners and everything else? Can you imagine the summer if that? It's not even worth. What is Plan B? Like you said, Johnny, if Conte walks, what is the Plan B? Where does that leave the club, the team, the manager, Kane, Son, Romero? There's a massive domino effect that Levy really has to think about it now, because he was the one he employed him. So if there's this domino effect that will follow because of Conte leaving, it's not even worth trying to even think about what Plan B could be, because that could set us back another 5 years easily. We would have to sell Son and Kane because they're not going to, and then we would have to use that money to really build the rest of the team, and then that would be Romero, Bentancur, and Kulusevski would be like, what's going? These guys will start looking around, and that would the rebuild would be even longer. So it's listen. I don't think Conte will leave. I think he will stay to the summer. I think he would. Well, he's laying the seeds down as of now, still to the summer. But ultimately, guys, I hope that Levy backs him because it puts him in a really bad position if he doesn't. I'm not saying he has to give him every player that he's requesting, but surely he's got to make a dent this summer in regards to recruiting the players that he wants. Has
Conte ever at any of his Juventus or Inter, did he ever throw in the youngsters? Like we were saying earlier, that maybe this is the moment like Pochettino where he had enough of the established players. He ripped up the blueprint and said, right, if you're not going to listen to me and follow my instructions, the youngsters are going to play. Has he ever done that?
You see,
I don't think he has he?
Juve were ready to win when he came on board. He was a Juventus man. He knew everything about. Oh God.
We'll explain that in a second, Sophie.
He was brought in because Juventus were ready to win. So it's like, okay, we've got our boy because he's a Juventus man through and through. We know that. He was brought in because Juventus had just been through that whole Serie B thing, come back up. Now Agnelli's come in, pumped in more money in, and it's like, now we're ready to win. Conte, bring us a Serie A. You give me this, and he identified Pogba, he identified all these players that he wanted, and I will hand you the title. Juve win the title. Inter Milan, by the time they brought him in, he had one season with them, if you guys check it out. One season he had, and he went straight at the end of that season, I want Lukaku, I want Barella, I want somebody at the back. I can't remember who it was now.
Young.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He identified an Ashley Young in his time. He was at Chelsea. Yep, that's the wing back I want. I want Hakimi on that right hand side. They will be my wing backs, and they were fantastic guys. Ashley Young in Italy, he was brilliant. Amazing. Right? Yeah. And what did he hand them at the end of that season? Yes, it cost them a hell of a lot, but they wanted the title. I'm bringing you the title. He brought them a title, and that very domination that he started at Juventus, he was there for the first 3 or 4 seasons, then went on to dominate for 9 seasons because he left them in a winning state. That even after he left, Juventus carried on. And who ended that domination? He went and took Inter. He ended Juve's domination. Yeah. So what he started, he stopped. And now Inter will carry on probably winning the league again this season. Now, to bring it back to Spurs, we are not in that situation right there. This is a completely different setting. So we need to first of all start getting back to that top 4 regularly again, because at the moment, as we are now in the last 2 or 3 seasons have suggested it, we are in that 6th, 7th, 8th bracket. That's where we are as a squad. And anything less than 8th is probably a failure. Anything more than 6th.
This is actually the problem we face, though, as well. The thing is that Levy doesn't seem to understand. He doesn't seem to grasp the idea of speculating to accumulate, right? He thinks that the process needs to be get top 4 and then spend. And it's like, no, it doesn't work like that, because if you get top 4 and almost possibly even to the point of be in the Champions League for a season and then spend, I wouldn't be surprised if that's his thinking. But can you imagine the squad we have now with maybe say 2 additions in the summer competing in Europe next season?
That's the trouble though with Levy, isn't it? I mean, the MO is get the money in first, then do the business.
Yeah.
Same with this policy of we've got to sell the players first before buying in the new ones. It sets us back a long way in each transfer market. We've seen this over so many years. We're doing things last minute because we couldn't shift players out. Yeah. Someone like Man United, they'll take the hit. They'll buy the player in, then worry about getting the player out. Exactly. Why do we have to be so different?
But the players that they were brought in, like the Bruno Fernandes, that guaranteed them to end in a position. And what do they get back with a return with under a Solskjaer? They didn't get anything. for it. But what the thing is, I don't understand how Rez makes a really valid point there about leave. I don't understand how, for someone who's such a businessman, to not understand hitting the top four, the revenue that will come with it, the players that you can attract because you've got the top four. I don't understand business wise. Let's put football to one side. Business wise, it would make perfect sense to say, look, let me spend a little bit to push, because right now we was in the race of top four, but in that January transfer market, if we had identified any of those positions that you guys have been talking about, the right wing back, the creative midfielder, the striker, possibly another left centre back, if he had recognised any of those positions, he wouldn't still be in the race. He would have split away from that race and gained himself a head start. And all these games in hand, we'd be probably talking about a different side right now. But here we are slugging it out, and now we're not locking heads with Man United and
We can't catch them
West
now
Ham.
with our games
We're
in
locking
hand.
heads with Southampton, Brighton,
It's
Wolves,
part of
Arsenal.
it's part of the criticism against Levy, though, isn't it? He's always had the MO of minimum risk, maximum return.
Yeah.
Now he's applied that in such a way that players are the risk.
Yeah.
So he wants to get the infrastructure, all the facilities, all the cinemas, housing, all the leisure facilities, everything in that, because that's very low risk. He knows he gets a return no matter what. Players, on the other hand, prices fluctuate. So he's not prepared to put in that same level of investment. I mean, that's my opinion anyway. I'd like to think what we've seen over the 20 odd years of ENIC kind of backs that up.
You do know, Kuva, that in actual fact, the infrastructure is zero risk for him.
Yeah.
Because we fund it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And that for me is the real key. This is what angers me about the situation, is the fact that he didn't ask us if we wanted to shoulder an £800 million debt. Because it's not him paying it, it's us. He didn't ask us. We're paying it, and yet he doesn't respond to us. Right? For what we want. We want a football team. Right? You want to shoulder us with £800 million of debt, give us a football team at least. Right? But he gets to build up this enormous asset that we fund, and then he can sell it for his profit. We're not going to see any of the profit when he sells it. And I don't have an inherent problem with that kind of sort of, well, maybe I do, but that's a moral question. As a philosophical question or a political question. But the idea of taking an asset, building it and selling it, I don't have an issue with that per se. But I do have an issue with getting people who are trapped. We cannot leave. And he is forcing us to enrich him. It is a slave state that we are in. And we have to realize this. We have to realize as fans, we are in a slave state. We are being told to shoulder this burden so that he can enrich himself. And that is what makes me furious. Furious.
I think that's the same with all of us. Whereas we're kind of helpless, aren't we? We feel helpless to the
It's
cause.
like-
Nothing we can do.
It's using that Tottenham logo brand, which is this right here, to do everything he wants to do, because he knows, like Rez rightly says, that people are. This is why the crest is near the heart for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And that's what he's playing playing all of this. What Rez is saying is he's playing it on that, and all it would take. The thing is, no one's asked for the moon here. All it would take was just a little bit of care of what goes on the pitch. And then we're not saying that we have to be the Manchester City or the Chelsea. No one's ever made those, or Liverpool. No one's ever made those quite. But can we have a journey that can mirror, say, Leicester City's in the last few years? They are living a dream, man, because they've won the league, they've won the cup, and they have owners who are backing what the manager's trying to do. What they're also trying to get their infrastructure as well sorted out. They are building that side of things, but they haven't neglected the footballing side, which is what's happening at Spurs for many, many years. This is the problem that we've got, John.
Yeah, sorry, what I was just going to say quickly, when Leicester buy young players, it's young players who are going to go into the team and grow. When we buy them, it's speculative punts that we might send out on loan. Look at Brian Hill. We didn't need a left winger. We got Brian Hill. He's out on loan. How's that benefiting our first team?
But Kuva, if you look at the managers that Leicester have hired, Ranieri and now Brendan Rodgers, maybe the ideas may be different, but they play the same expansive attacking football. If you look at Wolverhampton Wanderers, they had Nuno when he first started there. Certainly was really. He brought in this whole load of Mendes, who brought in a whole lot of Portuguese players who had a philosophy of way of playing. Nuno went and they hired this guy who has continued that same pattern. So there's a logic in the way that Wolves want to play. We have gone from Pochettino. I mean, we know the story. There's no link between one manager and another in the philosophy of way of football. They bring their own ideas, they bring their own players, and it's just an absolute mess. Listen. When I see these comments like Richard McGowan, not because of Richard himself, but when you read what he's actually put there, it's beggars belief. It really is beggars belief. It just goes to show that how much the team and the footballing side of things has been neglected probably since that year 2019. We were there, guys. We were there, but
so to Aaron's point here, Nick, hold on. How do you think the guys will respond on against Leeds? Do you think they'll raise their game to try and keep Conte in a job, or completely fold like a poppadom?
Tough one, very tough one. We know we have two sides to our team. We've got the side that can go to Manchester City and get out a great result. We know the sort of side that can look completely lackluster for 90 minutes and fail to score against Burnley or other teams like that. It's a toss-up, isn't it? You'd have to imagine Leeds are so gung-ho in their attacking intent that we're going to see more of the tactic we could use against Manchester City against them. Perhaps. Or do we look at it, they're lesser quality, we should be pushing ourselves, asserting ourselves on them instead. We did that earlier in the season when we were trailing to Leeds because they'd outpressed us and we sat back. We then came out more aggressively, went on the wrong foot, went on the front foot and pushed them much higher up the pitch, pushed the wing backs up and got man-to-man in the midfield. And it worked. It turned the game around. So
have we got the personnel to be assertive though? If it's looking like Winks and Højbjerg are going to have to play, isn't it? The only two fit midfielders. Have we got the personnel to be assertive and on the front foot with those two? I don't think we have. Which is probably half the reason for Conte's outburst last night.
We're looking in bad shape, mate.
Is Bentancur? What is there any latest on him? What's the story with him?
Radio silence.
It looked pretty bad, didn't it? In slow motion, they showed his whole body weight went completely different.
Is he being ruled out or
nothing's come out yet? But
guys, this is everything regarding Saturday's game. Everything makes me believe that Spurs. I can't even begin to contemplate any other result but a win on Saturday, because if you thought 4 out of 5 defeats was bad, then 5 out of 6 is not going to sound any better. So for me to contemplate anything but a win is I have to go with that mindset in. I have to. I can't begin to even address or even acknowledge any other possible result. My concern is this: not even the team that we will field. I don't think our intent or our preparation for that game is going to be any different than say what Kuva just said as the Man City, because they play similar sort of football as Man City do. My concern for us is the fact that I saw a very leggy team yesterday. We looked really tired. I think we were spent after that Man City game because we went to play 98, 99 minutes of pure intensity where we had to fight for that win right till the death to win it. So it wasn't like the game was done after 75, 80 minutes and we had 10, 15 minutes just to see it out. We played intensively, and not forgetting, for 80% of the match, we've done running because they had the ball. So you can see that in that first half yesterday, it was like meh. It was nothing to see. In the second half, what I did see, despite everything, is Tottenham create enough chances yet again to try and win the game. And we had it, Harry Kane after the break, Kulusevski, then we had another shot with the Kane on the left foot that hit wide. We looked like, before they ended up scoring, we looked like we was going to take the lead. But everything I said prior to that, I said I wanted the clean sheet. I said this is going to be a tight, narrow game. I predicted a 1-0 win for us because I thought this game, we need to be not conceding anymore. Just set pieces, be careful. Because I didn't see any other danger from them but set pieces. So I thought, let's just try and be compact there, because I think the longer the game goes, we will create at least that one chance to win it, to nick it, and take the 3 points home with us. Once that goal was conceded, and going back to what I was saying about us being leggy, I thought we don't have the energy to even try and equalize this game, let alone trying to go into equalize and then win it. We can't do the photo finish every single game. So that concerns me, John, is how we're going to be approaching that game in a physical place, because we played 3 games in a week. We played the midweek game last week as well. Midweek again this week. It catches up with you. If you haven't got the rotation to do that, and look at the midfield, you just said it, we haven't. So that's my concern going into that game. But in regards to the result, I have to think we're going to have to find a way to get a win, and the boys need to respond. After hearing what Conte had to say, they've got to respond to that.
Another huge thing. So sorry.
No, just to finish up. They have to respond, and not to try and, if we can, let's try and nip this game in the bud early and not having to wait 60, 70, 80, 90 minutes to win the game. Let's try and win it. Let's try and have a good first half, because the last few games, bar Man City, our first halves have been poor. Southampton, Wolves, they've been poor. So we need to try and change that trend.
Yeah, another huge thing to take into consideration is our away form. Take that Man City result out of it, and we've been poor on the road. And we are going to one of the most hostile grounds in the country in more ways than one. We've got to be right up for it at the beginning. As Iggy said, it's you've got to be that. We've got to be there right at the start. Let's nip it in the bud, because if they get ahead of steam up with a hostile home crowd, we're really up against it.
In addition to what you're saying, I think because they've been pumped 4-2 at home, they just lost 6-0. If you can try and nip it in the bud early and try and get that going too, it might create anxiety amongst their fans, which have obviously seen 2 bad defeats. And that can work in your favor, but you need to get into a situation where that becomes favorable to you. The similar way that teams are doing to us at White Hart Lane, because I said maybe these 3 or 4 games away from home will do Tottenham good as in the team. Because in that last game that I was there for the Southampton, the Southampton game. Within 10 minutes, I felt like a nervous energy amongst the crowd, and that was after a player mishit a 5-yard pass. Straight away, we was onto them. So I thought maybe, we need to play 2, 3, 4 games away from White Hart Lane just to see if they can gather some sort of momentum. And I think that's the same. I think that's where Leeds are as well as a family, because they're playing well, but they're getting pumped. And we're not losing 4-2 here, 6-0. That's 10 goals in 2 games. Need to get Kane and Son get some goals early on, to then hopefully makes it in our favour.
Big Al, what do you think about the Leeds game? Will we see a response from the players after yesterday, or?
Well, as I say, I think the one thing will hopefully play into our hands will be the fact that Leeds are not going to sit back like Burnley, or have that as lower. Their backline's not going to be as deep on recovery, if you know what I mean.
No low block.
Yeah, they like to attack. They and especially in front of their own fans. Yeah, they want to put on a performance. So it's a case of hopefully it's going to be a getting that one ball right to get the players in a position to be able to put us in a very as Iggy has said, and everyone else. We really do need to get on the front foot early, and we need to take that. We need to as I say, we need to be going into the half time with a 1 or 2-0 lead. We need to be.
You see, the thing that worries me is that they were 2-0 down against Man United and pulled back to 2-2.
Yeah.
So I don't. They don't strike me as a team that folds.
Yeah, they don't fold in. No, but as I say, the thing will be is that since then, it's to say if they've played another another 2 games afterwards. They've got to look at their position. I mean, it's like us. I didn't think Burnley would sit back yesterday, and I didn't think they did. In a sense of they defended back, but they did still try to push us. I mean, that red caused us all kinds of problems yesterday.
And we could have had him for £12 million.
Yeah. But it's a case of they wanted Leeds need to get on the front foot and try and win points because they are getting very close to that drop. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to, especially at home, I don't think they will take a chance and try and catch us on the counter. So I'm hoping, like, when they go up, if we were to go 2-0 up like Man U, I'm just hoping that we come out and carry on. I think what happened, I think Man United, like, kind of, it was a bit of a freaky first goal.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, so like, I think we just need to keep on the front foot for even 70 minutes, and hopefully we've got a big enough lead to not be able to concede enough damage.
Speaking of the Leeds game, Craig Pawson has been he's the referee for it, isn't he? Yeah. So, Rev, did you want to touch on your Twitter spat this week with Natalie Sawyer?
Yeah.
One thing to say about that then.
So essentially we had Craig Pawson when we scored our third goal. For those that aren't aware, when we scored our third goal against Man City, there is video of Craig Pawson turning away from, sort of turning towards the Man City dugout, or towards the direction of the Man City dugout, with a look of disappointment on his face, and you saw his shoulders drop. Right now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Craig Pawson is a Man City fan and he was disappointed that his team had just lost the match. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that a referee should not be acting like that. Okay, that's my view. And then on TalkSport the next day, we had Natalie Sawyer essentially coming up with scenarios by which this was excusable behavior. And she and I had a very, very long and involved Twitter discussion, let's call it that, in which all of the usual sort of Spurs fans of what's it called, claiming an agenda when none exists, all of this stuff. And I was saying that a official is supposed to be neutral. They're supposed to be impartial. And it is part of their job to demonstrate that. It is a key part of their job to demonstrate that. And therefore, if somebody doesn't do that, they're not doing their job properly. And that this is indicative of the standard of officiating within English football as a whole. Okay? Now, the fact that he is refereeing our game on Saturday, for me, is a joke. This man has demonstrated in a game with us that he does not do his job properly. And so he should have immediately have been removed from officiating any games, let alone one in which he has demonstrated incompetence to do his job that involves one of the teams that he will be refereeing on Saturday. We all know the standard of officiating is awful. We know this. It's a truism. And what annoyed me about Natalie Sawyer's stance was the fact that she claimed and she was saying that this was about balance. There is no balance here. It's not a case of it being subjective. Someone who can't do their job can't do their job. There's no defense there. And this ridiculous idea that people should be defending Craig Pawson because he did something that was outside of his performance is ridiculous. And that was what my discussion with Natalie was. Okay? I've said it before. Officials in this country are abysmal. There is not a single one of them that I have any respect for at all. They are all god-awful, piss-poor referees. And something needs to be done because they are paid to do this job. It's not done for the love of the game like it used to be. At that point, you could say, well, they have other jobs. You know, this they do for the love of the game. Now they are paid. It is their career. Do the job properly or fuck off.
And I mean, what? Not being funny, but why are they putting Anthony Taylor as referee when he lives in Manchester? He's a mank. Why are they giving him the refereeing job?
Yeah, he didn't do the best.
My message to the PGMOL: you are not fit for purpose. Okay, and it is time that the fans, because football is for us. In the same way that we should be asking questions of our clubs, we should be asking questions of our referees. All right? It is enough. It is enough. Either shape up or ship out is my message to PGMOL.
There was actually, it's quite widespread if you look into it, referees and officials celebrating. I remember a couple of years back, we were playing at Liverpool when Harry Kane won a penalty. And the lino was fist pumping the air when we got it, and you just thought, "Wow!" It was funny at the time because obviously it was annoying Liverpool fans, which I'm all for every time. It does go on. I think there was a cup final as well where the referee fist pumped at the end of the game, celebrating it, and then he explained afterwards he was just celebrating because it had gone well and he'd got through doing a good job over the set. But it's still wrong, isn't it? You don't show that.
We had the Mike Dean situation where he was celebrating, getting the decision right, and Dembele scored, and it looked like he was celebrating, running away, hands up, and we suffered for that for years because after that we struggled to get anything off of Mike Dean.
Yeah.
The thing is that the job of a referee, guys, is to officiate and to go unnoticed, which is why they used to wear black. They used to wear black because they are that they're there, but they're not there. They're supposed to be completely like invisible almost. They're just there to officiate the game. They're not there to be protagonists, which I often wonder. I often think that this is the reason now that they're starting to become a little bit more protagonists and they want to make a name for themselves. If you're going to do that, then start doing interviews after the match. You can explain certain decisions that you've made, especially with VAR involved. So that's the first thing. The fact that all their kits is now starting to become more and more Ferguson, high vis and all these color craziness. That's because you are, as a referee, want to become a little bit more of a protagonist. That's the sense that I'm getting, because that was the whole purpose of them dressing in black. And also, another thing I've often thought about, if players can go and play in the 5 top leagues, let's just keep it to the 5 top leagues for now. If players can move around in all these countries and play football and take their games, why can the referees not move around as well?
Yeah.
Why can't an English referee go and ref a game in France? Or in Germany, in Italy, Spain, whatever you want, have them coming over here as well. Not all referees to completely move around, but have a selection of them that they move from game to game. It's difficult to do it when it's 3 times a week and they live in a different country. I can get that, understand it, but ever so often, just to mix it up, to give us a different perspective, how a foreign ref will come and ref a Premier League game and how an English ref also. To add to what Rez is saying, because they're so incompetent, it could also raise it can raise their growth by going and refereeing the games abroad. So I don't understand why that's never been something that's ever been thought about by those that do this very, very job.
It is time for this idea of the referee being God to be removed from football.
Yeah.
They are not. They are flawed. They are doing a job, and they should be held accountable because what they do affects hundreds of thousands of people every week.
And Mike Dean goes out of his way to do it.
Yeah, it is not acceptable for somebody to actually affect hundreds of thousands of people on a regular basis and to be held completely unaccountable for that. It is not acceptable.
I think to counterbalance that, you'd also have to say at the same time, it's also not acceptable when players go and harass the referee in large flags.
Absolutely.
It should be down. It should. I think it was Brian Clough used to fine players for doing this.
Yeah.
He said if you got a grievance, your captain goes to speak to them.
Correct.
I think that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So it can work both ways. Referees do the job properly, get a bit of respect from the players. Correct. A better place would be.
And the fans. Fans. If they acted, listen, one of the things that Natalie Sawyer said yesterday to excuse Craig Pawson is that he's human, right? My counter argument to that was, so basically because he's human, he isn't held accountable for his key performance indicators. I turned around and said, so tomorrow if I go into work, I can go out to my boss and swear at him and say, you can't punish me, I'm human, right? Which he didn't really have much of an answer for. But the point is that if somebody makes a mistake, they make a mistake. It happens, okay? But the point of it is that with that forgiveness or with that allowance comes responsibility. What PGMOL and the referees in this country, I can't speak for other countries, but what they want is that they want to be able to make those mistakes, which the shit show, excuse me for what was going on with all the VAR crap last season and this season and all the changes and all of that stuff that happened to the rules. What they want is to do what they want, make the mistakes, but have no accountability for it. I mean, who does PGMOL actually answer to? Who holds them to account? Who do they respond to? Who judges their performance as an organization and their employees? Who does that? Why do we not have
self-governing by any chance?
Yeah. Or it's some kind of light touch situation with the FA, which tells you everything that you need to know.
Yeah. And it also don't help that the fact that if I remember rightly, Mike Riley's the head of PGMA. And he's mostly one of the world's worst referees.
I've ever.
Speaking of Cox, a seamless link. Look, lastly, before we leave tonight, this nonsense about the animal rights activists trying to make us take the little Spurs off of the
after the Y word. After the Y word. You're just trying to get the chance. Now the cockerel. What's next?
Yeah. What is next? Well, we'll be playing in red next, won't we, Iggy?
We played that
anyone got? Anyone got any thoughts on the?
No, LJ. Just before we get to that, did anyone answer Sophie Prince's question about why I've got about 18,000 names?
Oh no,
no one's interested. Only Sophie.
One of our viewers is interested, LJ. So your audience, Johnny. So basically, Sophie, what happened is that we had a comment with Nick that he looked a little bit like. Actually, I think it might have been Johnny who said it. He looked a little bit.
No. It was Aaron. It was
Aaron Duff. Aaron Duff said it. He looks a bit like Barry from EastEnders. And so Johnny at the time changed his name to Barry on the stream. And then after that, it sort of twisted because the actor who plays Barry is Sean Williamson. There was also discussion of calling Nick, Barry, Sean. And so it became Nick, Barry, Sean. Then it became Barry, Sean. Also, there's a slight resemblance to the EasyJet guy, Stelios, forgotten his surname. And then Brian comes on the stream. And Brian comes on the stream and essentially can't work out which name to call Nick at the time. And so since then, essentially, we have been adding names to Nick's handle just willy-nilly. I mean, I called him Nathaniel the other day. We've had Steve, Seamus, Grant, Phil, Barry, Nick, and
Rowley and Wellard.
Rowley and Wellard got called
every EastEnders character.
In essence, he looks very generic.
It's even worse after
someone's just put the Go Compare guy.
Yeah, exactly. And so now
someone
he is
just put down Go Compare.
I call him insert name here. Or the man of 1,000 names.
And I call him whatever his name is.
Yeah. And that's the story behind it.
So there you go, Sophie. It's funny, my name's not there, but when I pop up on other people's stream, it's actually my real name. And when I spoke when I spoke to Bobby Kay over Facebook, he was like, "Oh my God, I know your real name." It's
let's just do for Gaguma. Let's have a look for you. Let's see if we
didn't Bobby Kay ask for Nick's real name at some point so he could actually add him on Facebook?
Yeah,
there you go.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I like this suggestion by Bob Spur.
Ranjit.
Yeah, I like that. I think we should. I think we should call him Ranjit.
Oh wow!
As well.
Anything for our viewers, Sophie.
Absolutely. We love them.
Nobody mentioned Pepe.
Hence, I'm saying that. Yeah, I don't want to get a thump from Iggy. That's what it is. I'm right next to him.
You saw my reaction, Nick, when Johnny said that. It was one of shock. Okay, it was one of shock. So yeah.
Yeah, dear. So no one's got anything to say about the cockerel. Oh, actually, Aaron.
My start, I will keep going. I'm just going to give others a chance.
One word to sum that up: context.
Again, yeah.
Do you know what?
Nick, didn't you have some stuff to say about the Badgers?
Didn't I have something to say? No, I was asking if you were going to talk about it, but we've got.
I'll talk about it.
We've got a cannon that incites violence. We've got devil worshippers up in Manchester. Yeah. I mean, what the hell
hammers,
are we talking about here? The hammers.
Nick, you're wrong. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of this, but in actual fact, anyone who sees the Man United emblem or the Crawley one instantly becomes a Satanist.
Okay.
Are you not aware of this?
No. According to the media, no, I'm not aware of this.
Yes, it happens. And also, what happens is that anyone who sees Blackburn, Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday, Bolton, Morecambe, Barrow, Leeds, or Man City's emblem, they instantly start a civil war in Lancashire and Yorkshire. Did you not know this?
Yeah.
Also,
no, we've got eagles. I mean, they kill small animals, so surely
that's right.
They do that. We've got bees that people who could have anaphylactic shocks to.
Correct.
We've got canaries that should be not caged and freedom and everything else.
West Ham are clearly giving a big up to Peter Sutcliffe.
Yeah.
We've got the seagulls that shit everywhere and nick your food at the beach.
Did you know that every single West Ham supporter is an adulterer? Did you know that? Do you know why? Because on the West Ham badge, there's that tower, which is a reference to Green Street House. Green Street House was one of the places that Anne Boleyn used to live in, and Henry VIII courted her there when he was still married to Catherine of Aragon. So all West Ham fans are adulterers because that's what badges do. That's what they do. Right?
There's a tree on the Southampton one, so does it mean that they like chopping trees down?
No, they're all elves. They all become elves instantly. Yeah. Did you know that as soon as somebody chooses to support Newport County, they instantly leave their home and go and live elsewhere because they're the exiles. Right? Did you also know that Bristol Rovers fans, every single one of them, are pirates?
I'm sorry I asked now.
No, it's true.
Where's his rants part 2?
Yeah.
Here's another one. This is my favourite one. Okay, it's a well-documented phenomenon. Reading fans engage in the invasion and conquering of lands that don't belong to them because they're all colonialists. Do you know why? Because if you look at Reading's bags, there's a little lion on it, yeah, which is a reference to the Maywand lion, which is a memorial built for the Battle of Maywand that was which was part of the Second Anglo-Afghan War, yeah, when the British Empire was at the height of its colonialist activities.
God, don't tell them that, Rez. They'll be straight on that case.
Doncaster, they go around in longboats and loot and pillage because
I bet they're making notes. They're like, oh, we'll get them taken down. We'll get them
Lincoln City are clearly Satanists.
Yes.
Because they have an imp on their badge.
The best way of doing this, lads, really is remove all club badges. No more club badges ever.
Yeah.
And just have colours. As long as they've got the colours.
Oh no, you're not allowed to identify each other with names either, are you? We'll just have completely anonymous football.
Him, her,
white, blue.
Yeah.
Cancel everything.
I told you, if you start me off, I'm just going to keep your local team guys. Actually, Wickham Wanderers. You know, they need to remove the swan with the silver chain because that's the symbol of the first Duke of Buckingham, who was a warmonger. You know, Barrow.
You're not allowed to kill a swan still to this day. It's a crime against the Queen.
That's right. Barrow have got a submarine.
Nick?
Yeah.
See what you've done, Nick, Barry, Phil, Grant, Seamus, Sean, Ranjit. Good on. You've got it
right. As we're approaching
Pepe to me.
As we're approaching,
I'll take that, Peter.
Yeah, he was like a hunk of the show, wasn't he? As we're approaching nearly 2.5 hours, we'll call it a day soon. So, Alan, did you want to remind everyone that we've got coming next week before I go around the guests so they can refer us to their wonderful channels? I'll give you a clue. Put his stats up on the screen.
Sorry, guys, sorry. I just need to say one more thing about the thing. In actual fact, sorry, no, I apologise. I do apologise.
I need to take Steve Perryman off the screen when you do this.
I'm so sorry. But the point I was saying is cockerels have spurs, right? If you look at a picture of a cockerel, they have a little appendage halfway up their leg, and it's called a spur. And we're not called Spurs because of that. We're called Spurs because of Harry Hotspur as well. So it's got nothing to do with cockfighting. Okay? We're a cockerel because that was a symbol of his house as well. Yeah? So this thing, I know I took the piss a little bit and I got a bit ranty, but in actual fact, it's all bollocks. All right? We really got to just
stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Should we have some bollocks on the badge?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to remind them, Kova, that I got to show.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I apologise.
Alan, Big Al.
Well, next week we've got the one and only captain. As I say, in his days they used to play football. Stevie Perryman. You know, they played football. They didn't play for money. So we've got Stevie Perryman coming on next week at 7:30.
Just look at some of them stats. Look, record appearance holder, 854 games, 39 goals. FA Youth Cup winner in 1970. FA Cup winner 81 and 82. Kuva was there. League Cup 71 and 73. Were you there after those, Al? UEFA Cup 72 and 84. And Footballer of the Year in 1982.
Brilliant.
And don't talk about the 84 one.
Yeah, suspended, wasn't
well, yeah.
Gutted.
He still did he get a medal?
He's on the Tottenham website. We'll ask him next week. Okay. We'll ask him next week.
He didn't do a John Terry, did he?
He played in the campaign. Yeah.
Maybe we won't word it like that.
as in, did he wear the full kit in the final, suspended, and went up and held the cup up and everything? Did he do all of that?
Oh, no, I think it was it's in one of the pictures here. I don't think he was. I think he had
Steve, we just wanted to clarify something for our viewers. Were you a full kit wanker in 1980?
You see, I didn't word it like that. I said, did he do a John Terry? That should have been enough.
We'll make sure we go Iggy from Tottenham away.
You can tell him that. I didn't call him a full kit wanker. I just did a John Terry. Different wording.
You're going to need to hide behind a few more.
It's lost in translation. He's Italian.
Let's not everyone do that one. Let's not. I don't want to hear no more lost in translation stuff. Honestly. But do you see though, every little thing right now with Spurs gets, you know, the lost in translation, the post match yesterday. It concerns me that this is the pattern that's trending moving forward. If we don't get the result, that is it, man. It's like everyone else can lose a game, and okay, it's a bad day today, blah blah. Move on. Every defeat from here on will be heavily scrutinised for Spurs moving forward.
Yeah. Well, we will next week. Hopefully, we'll be asking bit like Mickey has about the past, and we're not going to try and go too much into the future.
Mickey's brilliant. I mean, I've never met and spoken.
Did you see the show, Mickey? Did you see our show, Iggy? The other week?
No, I've never had the pleasure of speaking to him, but Mickey, I have done, and Mickey is. He is brilliant. I mean, some of the stuff that we spoke with, and bearing in mind, it was only supposed to be half an hour. 2 hours and 25 minutes later, he was still there chatting away. He loves Spurs, and I'm sure Steve Perryman. I mean,
to be honest with you,
854 games.
Yeah, Stevie Perryman was a funny one because I had Eddie's email address from. Something about his book.
Don't reveal your sources, Al. Come on, Al. You'll get in trouble. You're getting trouble. He keeps saying to us, "Don't reveal my sources," and he's doing it himself. Like, he's digging himself himself.
Well, yeah. What he's trying to say is, you don't reveal them because he wants to.
Yeah.
When I contacted him, I was shocked. So I was expecting just a reply via. I had to phone him. I had to phone him and talk to him personally before he agreed to come on the show. That was the way he worked.
Send him the questions, didn't we? So he could make sure he weren't trying to stitch him up with trying to.
Did you have that, Coover, when you had him? Did you have it? That was Stevie when you got him.
Sorry, did I have?
When you got Stevie Perriman on your show, when you was on the Tottenham Tantrum.
Yeah.
Did you have to phone him up and speak to him before he actually?
I didn't, but Phil and Dermot both did.
Right.
It's probably because they don't talk as much shit as we do, Alan, and he was just checking that it was real. Do you know what I mean? He'd seen it, he'd heard about us and thought they're going to ask me some really weird shit about animals or dogs or
No, you've got to listen. We were on our best behaviour when Mickey Hazard was on, and we'll be on our best behaviour when Steve Perriman is on as well.
And that's the first res.
Outside of that, I'm going to swear. I'm going to rant. I am going to tell you exactly what I think. All right, and I don't give a shit. Okay.
So what game have we got him after? Leeds, I guess.
Yeah.
When is this show? When is it?
Next week today, Iggy. Week today, yeah, Thursday.
I'll just tell you in advance, he's a Betty Rubble fan, so that you can save a bit.
Hey, I saw you asking.
Is that as opposed to Wilma Flintstone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I might try and lure him in with a bit of Betty Boop, Coover.
I know the feeling, Coover. I used to prefer Betty.
There you go.
Exactly, it's the correct answer.
As Mrs. Al is parading around in a negligee in the background, I think it's time to go to bed, Alan, isn't it? It could be time to call the stream off.
Turn it off, boys. I think I better turn it off.
We don't want another FA Cup.
Put that 91 semi-final bit DVD on quick.
I was going to say there's no important match on. There's no important match on for him to miss a goal.
Iggy, did you want to tell everyone about your channel? There's a few people watching there.
Tottenham away. We do Monday night pods, as you guys are fully aware. Monday night 8:30. It's probably going to be a lot of discussing Leeds, I'm sure. And many other things that we do on the night. Tuesday night we do it with the boys across the pond, the United Spurs of America. That's a 7:30 p.m. show, and of course myself, Stel. We always uploading videos like you guys mentioned earlier that I do in the mornings, and he Stel does the same. So there's always plenty of content on the channel about. So if you guys want to give us a follow, by all means, it will be an absolute pleasure to have any of you following or or we'll always often even put the stream link out to see if anyone wants to join in the evening. So if any of you boys ever about and free or even bored and want to have a little discussion about Spurs, more than welcome.
I got a little bite out still about Winksy yesterday, didn't I?
Yeah, you are a wind-up, Johnny. I know you are a secret wind-up. I know. It's a bit like me biting away when they call these like Chelsea. You know, it's for all the love in the world they have for Jorginho for winning us at Euros. To say that this beautiful, beautiful team and such a handsome captain as well. To compare him to, I can't.
Well, I came on the other night and so, like to see it, and you said I'm fed up of people saying about this picture, so I just thought I'd just have a little
no, because the first time or 2 times I heard it, I thought, are they being serious? Because I need to sort this out right now. But then after I began to understand that it became because they just wanted to get a reaction out of me. And mentioning Chelsea, Arsenal, who, by the way, bloody won tonight, the 96th minute winner by it's just, listen, doesn't matter what anyone does around us if we're not doing what we're meant to do. It matters little. So, but yeah.
Kiva, you're a man of many streams now, aren't you? You're a freelancer on at the moment, or none?
Free agent. I'll just float in between them, go and do what I like, and find whichever one's offering a bit of fun at the time. I mean, since there wasn't any, I thought I'd come on air tonight instead.
Yeah.
What? No, to be fair, I've bigged up your channel so many times.
You have, mate. We're only fishing.
One time I forget it, and there's 2 of you there to pants.
Yeah. Didn't we pounce, Kuva?
Listen, the thing you got to understand, Kuva, is that we stalk the forests of Spurs streamdom, looking for victims.
Yeah, you know what's actually nice now is just instead of concentrating on the football, just go around and visiting the people you like. I really like the creators on all these YouTube channels. Bloody brilliant bunch. Absolutely is. Absolutely is.
Do you know what? You're right, Kuva. This is one of the best things. Results, footballing aside. Do you know what? You're talking to the devil. Here he comes, Johnny.
Here he is.
Like Beetlejuice, isn't he? You say his name and he arrives.
One of the best things that I've experienced amongst the stories I mentioned earlier about the morning videos and stuff like that is this brilliant Spurs family that I consider, and I mentioned this earlier, as my extended family, because honestly, I think with this up and down that we're having, this is the best thing to come out of it, because immediately, all of a sudden, from being like a really shitty morning, started to progress in the day. And now come on here, speak to you guys. All of a sudden, I'm ready to now go on to the eve of the Leeds game, pumped, ready to go again. This is a massive thing. Not only for us that do it, but for everybody that follows. I think they get a lot of pleasure out of it.
It was like the Wolves game. I mean, obviously, we I think 1, 2, 3, 4 of us went to that game that day. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. No, Iggy, you did the watch along on World TV.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I was doing.
Yeah. And, it was how shit was that result? But afterwards, some of us went for a curry. Iggy, you came to that after the watch along. We hung out. There was a social side to it. And that eased the pain. Yes. It really did.
Don't get me wrong, the curry house, every time they see the Spurs result now, Spurs have lost at home again. Quid's in, they're going to be all coming over. they got the table set up already because they know if we lose, we're going to go there. So
they're chucks in every pot.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Stelios, he's actually done our White Hart memory lane. He was our first guest to do it, actually, Stel. So he's done it. So Iggy and Kuva, we want you guys to do it as well at some point. So we'll be in touch with you. Yeah.
And thank you, lads, because you saved me from doing it tonight.
Yeah.
We didn't want you to do it, Al. We just keep climbing you off,
Yeah.
You are.
We've got Steve Perry
like a second-hand car that don't work.
Because all of it will involve either some kind of taxi-related incident, or Paul Daniels, or he'll have missed it because of some
sexually
marital
oriented.
thing.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. All right. I mean, what was your first trip to White Hart Lane like? Well, it was okay. I went in a cab, okay,
Bonking in the toilets and then
I
half
went into
crooks
the toilet with my 8th wife, right? And I missed the goal because we had to do it a couple of times. You know,
scored in the 43rd second.
Yeah, you know.
Oh,
So it's that really it needs to be like Alan's White Hart Memory Lane needs to be done by Jackie Collins, right, rather than us, because we wouldn't do it justice.
Who's the guy that did Confessions of a Window Cleaner? We'll have to get him to host it that week.
Him. Yeah,
what was his name?
Yeah, I, for the life of me, I can't remember. I'm just thinking of Alan.
Timmy Lee. That was it, wasn't it?
No.
There you go.
Quickly
Or-
Google it.
Wasn't there another one? Tom Robbins, something like that. He was another one who did that sort of.
Confessions of a
One
Window.
of the characters' names probably Timmy Lee or something. There was always a song about it.
Robin Asquith.
There you go, Robin
Asquith. he can present Alan's one.
Yeah.
And on that night, we'll have to do our Levy out. Do you want to say goodbye, guys? It's 10.
Yeah, just before you close it, Aaron's jumping on and he was saying Colin and Tiago on at 10:30. So we've just seamlessly taken them to Talk and Ball at 10:30.
Yeah.
So
A little cup of tea, little break, have a little drink up, and then
Put down hashtag Shelfside Raid onto the comments.
Shelfside Raid
We
when you
do
go
that on
over.
every other one.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting another little Conte in and Levy.
I thought you said something else there for a minute. I thought that's a bit strong.
No. Well, the thought there. It's a thought that counts.
In honor of Sophie, just one last question. No, I'm kidding.
See you later, people.
See
I want you to